And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
Tune in to the Keith Fire Show. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Live here on ESPN Dayton. 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is the Justin Kinner Show here on a Tuesday. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Listen, stream, and now watch. You can listen at 1410 Wing AM. You can stream at wingam.com. And, of course, you can watch us now. Listen, stream, and watch us on Facebook. Again, search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Follow along. You could watch the show, interact with the show. Again, every time you comment, we pull your comments right into the show. You get to show off your little Facebook profile picture. It's a lot of fun. Or, of course, you can call into the show at 457-9464. We try to be as interactive as possible. We've taken more of a shift towards the social media side of things. So if you want to get your opinion heard on the show, head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show. You can also follow along on Twitter at 1410 Kinner, KINNER, and then follow Mr. Kev Nash at Kev Nash on Twitter.
That's me.
I've been getting it right? Like it's been tagging you on the little show posts and everything. You've been alerted. That's all that matters. All right, we got a lot to get into today. We're going to open up with some college football talk here. We're going to talk a little Ohio State Buckeyes. We're also going to talk about what the college football landscape is going to look like by the time the Buckeyes kick off a few weeks from now. You may think, not a whole lot's going to change. There are going to be quite a few teams that have a leap start. They're going to have a jump start on the season, and not just from a kickoff standpoint, but from a college football playoff resume standpoint. So I want to take a look at that as we open things up. We're going to get into our Cincinnati Reds discussion right now. Again, we are less than 24 hours away from the Reds' first pitch in the playoffs. Again, Reds, Braves, MLB, NL Central, or NL wildcard round, I should say. The Reds have not been in the playoffs since 7 years, and that drought will come to an end tomorrow at noon. And of course, you can catch that right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio, 11:30 the pregame. And then, of course, right at noon will be the first pitch. And again, here's the Reds pitching lineup for the week, the rotation, I should say, for this opening round series against the Atlanta Braves. Of course, you have Trevor Bauer pitching in game 1, Luis Castillo pitching in game 2, Sonny Gray in game 3. I put this out on Facebook earlier today, and we touched on it on the show yesterday. This wasn't a big critique. It got a lot of attention on the page. I wasn't trying to start a debate. I know I'm good at starting the debate thing. I'm good at having these takes that just irritate people. My only critique would be in a 3-game series versus, again, this is a different approach. If this was a 7-game series, I would not have this opinion. If this was a 1-game wild card, I would not have this opinion. But in a 3-game series, when game 2 is automatically an elimination game, whether it's your team about to be eliminated or you are about to eliminate your opponent, it's automatically an elimination game. And I think game 2 is the most stressful of the 3 games when it comes down to it. Game 1, they have Trevor Bauer on the mound. I would have flip-flopped it. For me personally, I would have preferred to have Luis Castillo on the mound for his very first game ever in the playoffs, because I feel pretty good that if Luis Castillo kind of stubs his toe in his very first ever playoff game because of the pressure or whatever it is, I feel pretty good that the potential Cy Young winner in the National League and Trevor Bauer would be right there to save the day in game 2 to force that game 3 with Sonny Gray on the mound coming up on Friday if it comes to that. Now, if Trevor Bauer, let's say tomorrow, pitches a gem of a game, but all of a sudden the Reds lineup doesn't show up, and the Reds pick up a loss even with Trevor Bauer on the mound, that sets up an elimination game. So now Luis Castillo faces all this pressure of pitching in his very first playoff game, and he's also trying to make sure that his team gets the win. Again, it's not a big deal. It was just a different approach to it than most people. However, keep in mind, the Reds, the reason I feel like they're in best shape to win this series, in fact, I have them getting all the way to the National League Championship Series, which we'll talk about around the corner. It's because of these 3 guys right here. Again, if you're watching live on Facebook, it's these 3 guys right here. If you could see the graphic, Trevor Bauer, Luis Castillo, and Sonny Gray. So Reds and Braves tomorrow, noon, first pitch, 11:30 the pregame, all right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. All right, Kev, we're going to open up a little college football talk. And real quick, by the way, I'm going to go to the Facebook chat real quick. David Shaw, he says, Bauer is the number one. The number one goes in game one, just my opinion. No, I completely get that. That's why I said in game 7, a 7-game series, pitch your number one guy. If it's a 1-game playoff, a 1-game wild card like normal, pitch your number one guy. All I'm saying is Bauer's the number one guy. I'm not against him pitching tomorrow. I just would have preferred to flip-flop, but that's all. Luis Castillo, if the Reds lose tomorrow with Trevor Bauer on the mound, that's a lot of pressure for Luis Castillo to face in his, not just, in the playoffs, but his very first playoff game. But David Shaw, you're not wrong. That's the norm. That's the popular opinion is, yes, you start your best guy. But let's be clear. Luis Castillo's ERA is pretty much dead even with Trevor Bauer's in the month of September. Trevor Bauer ended up getting the September Player of the Month. But if you look at his numbers and Luis Castillo's numbers in the month of September, Luis Castillo's numbers are more inflated than Trevor Bauer's. But in the month of September, both guys have been unhittable. So that's all. I don't think you could have gone wrong with either. But David, I agree. I don't think you can go wrong with either one at this point. All right, we're going to shift gears, talk a little Ohio State football. Ohio State will kick off the season on October 24th, and we now know one more time, got to go back to the Facebook feed. David Shaw says, if Reds lose tomorrow, I'd pitch Gray in game 2 for exactly what you were saying. Fair enough. You have veteran pitcher in Sonny Gray, too. Again, what David Bell has here is flexibility, and it's because of the talent of those 3 guys. Back to college football. Ohio State kicks off their season on October 24th. They have Nebraska. What time do they play? We don't even know. Oh, yeah, we do know. We do know now. It's a noon kickoff. Fox has just been, they've been waiting for they are desperate for Ohio State Big Ten football to finally kick off, right? They wasted no time in announcing what the October 24th big noon kickoff game is going to be. It'll be Ohio State and Nebraska. How good of a game it will be, I don't think fans care. I think they just want to see the Scarlet and Gray out on the field. I think we are all used to watching Buckeye games that are pretty much over by the end of the first quarter anyways. I think that's what this has all the makings of. But what interests me more about anything, Kev, is the state of college football by the time we get there. That's still quite a few weeks. We're just now wrapping up September. It's not even October yet. And the Buckeyes don't kick off till pretty much the end of October on the 24th. The SEC just kicked off last weekend. I think that, the landscape of college football is going to be drastically different by the time Ohio State finally takes the field at the Shoe on the 24th against Nebraska. So I started looking at this, okay? And again, resumes mean nothing technically in the eyes of most. I'm trying to beat a lot of the guys to the punch on Facebook and the callers on this, Kev, because everyone's going to say that the AP poll does not matter. Regardless of your opinion of the AP poll, I do believe it does kind of matter for this reason, Kev. It's a good starting point. You think the college football playoff, where they kind of know who the top teams are. The AP is a pretty good reflection of who the top teams are. And usually, how are we ranking the college football playoffs? What's the criteria that we're using? What do we hear the committee say all the time? How many top 25 wins do you have? Well, where are those top 25s coming from? They're coming from the AP. Now, again, a couple weeks into the college football playoff poll being released, then you're talking about how many top 25s within the college football playoff poll. But that very first college football playoff poll that comes out, on a normal year, we would be bragging about Ohio State's top 25 wins, Penn State in week 2, this and that. We'd be bragging about that. You have the right to. But guess who's also going to have that right come college football playoff time when that poll comes out a few weeks later? Ohio State will end up having one top 25 matchup in Penn State by the time you get there. Alabama's going to have 5. Clemson's going to have 2. Hold on. I have the whole list right here. Clemson's going to have 2. Florida will have 3 by that point. Georgia will have Auburn. Texas will have Oklahoma. Again, so quite a few teams will have 1. But there's going to be quite a few teams that have a good jump start onto the season. Ohio State will be in that first college football playoff poll. What I worry about is if the tables were reversed, Ohio State would be pretty frustrated with certain teams making the playoff that played significantly less games and significantly less talented teams. Ohio State's going to get the rub just because they are Ohio State and they deserve that. That's a right that's been earned. And plus this roster's good. You know what you're getting. All I'm saying is the college football landscape is going to have such a huge jump start on Ohio State that their margin for error, as we've talked about, it is beyond slim.
Yeah, for sure. Their margin for error is very low this year, but with the amount of talent and the amount of practice time that everybody's putting in with the Buckeyes, and I know it's just social media, but from everything that the players and the staffs are saying about what's going on up at the Woody, the guys are taking it very serious. They're not doing anything besides eating, breathing football. no contact with the outside world that doesn't involve the football team. That's one of the main reasons I'm worried about the actual season. We see what's going on with Notre Dame. Obviously, everything that's going on in the NFL with the Titans. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. Yep. But as far as the Buckeyes concerned, I think Coach Day is going to spin it to an advantage for them. We get to see what they're doing. We get to see what everybody else is, how they are handling a COVID world and the upsets that happen. You have something to point at. See what they did. See what Mississippi State did to defend the champs. We got to be ready to play. They weren't ready to play. You see, to say Alabama has a close game with team so-and-so. See, they weren't ready. We got to be ready. So they have 3 weeks to watch everybody else. Well, more than 3 weeks, but they have 3 more weeks to watch everybody else play football to see their mistakes.
Yep.
And I know Coach Day is going to spin it to a point where it's going to work into our favor. So I'm really not even worried about it because I'm very confident that they're going to take care of business and we're going to be exactly where we want to be, which is back in the college football playoff.
I agree. And you talk about some of those distractions off the field. Ohio State's taking it serious. But let's be clear. I think what we all know about college football is, yes, the Power Fives are the only ones that really have a true shot at qualifying for the college football playoff just based on the strength of schedules. And some of those aren't even by putting them together in the non-conference. It's just basically the opponents you face within your conference present to you a schedule that if you go undefeated, you're at least going to be in the conversation for that. But what about the teams that really don't have college football playoff expectations? How serious are they going to take this? We talked about this in the NBA bubble. Like, okay, the teams that are coming in, but my concern at the beginning was, well, we know that the Lakers and the Clippers and some of the Bucks and the teams that we circled as title contenders, we knew they were going to take this serious. Of course, I say that, but the Clippers had, the Lou Williams thing and others. But like, what about the teams that they know that they're just being force fed into this bubble so that they can get Zion Williams into the bubble and some of the others? Would they take it as serious? Because it's like, well, we don't even have a shot to win a championship. So if we end up getting ousted of this bubble because we went to have a little fun time or we try to sneak someone in, then so be it. Well, that's a realistic thing that college football is going to face too. You look at Purdue. Purdue is a program that, you know what? It's fun to play football. They want to play football. But they're really just playing for a bowl game at this point, which it was announced today that all 41 bowl games are going to be attempted to be played this season. So I found that interesting as far as that's concerned. But Purdue today announced that they have suspended 13 in non-fall sports for Residence Hall Party. Again, there's no names of the athletes that have been released. We don't even know if they're football players or not, but it's just the point that, again, kids are being kids. These, these college kids, I call them adults, college students are being college students is what we did in college. I can't tell you how disciplined I would be at 18 years old being told, hey, you got to go to college. You got to live in dorms, but don't go around nobody. Don't talk to nobody. Don't touch nobody. Just stay away from me. Probably things you don't touch anybody anyway, but you see my point. And now you're asking these kids, as college students to do that. And Purdue already finds themselves in that situation. But yeah, so Purdue suspends 13 in non-fall sports for residents. So I guess they're non-fall sports athletes, I guess. But again, it's just the point that,
but still,
let's be clear. It could include fall sports athletes. It could include football. We're seeing other sports and other things being swept under the rug. Why not here? They're trying to control the narrative. But to your point, this is the kind of thing that can get Ohio State or anybody in trouble. I do trust Ryan Day and the Buckeyes that they fought really hard to get this season. They fought really hard to still have a chance to win the championship, which they truly feel that they are good enough to do. We all believe that as well. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I feel like they're locked in just like you've talked about.
Yeah, they're locked in. But as we know about this virus, you could be doing everything in your own power to stay safe and wash your hands and stay away from people, wear a mask, yada, 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 and still come down with the virus. And speaking strictly from a Big Ten perspective, if you test positive for COVID, you're out for 3 weeks.
Yep.
That's 3 games, 21 days. And there's no telling what can happen from a season. Like you talked about with the NBA, we can't take it for granted that teams like that were out of the playoffs, like Portland, took it serious and played hard basketball. Teams like the Suns, Devin Booker and the Suns, they won all 8 of their regular season games to even make competitive in the bubble. And then you had other teams going through the motions. So we don't know. We don't know who's going to be taking it serious and who's not going to be taking it serious. We believe that the Ohio States of the world, the Penn States of the world are going to take it serious because they believe they have a goal at the end of the road. But like you said, we don't know what's going on with these I don't want to call them lesser teams, but these smaller teams that really don't
not as much to play for.
Yeah, they don't have as much to play for. They don't have as much to lose as the Ohio State. The Ohio State Buckeyes, we have a championship aspirations. A lot of guys want to put more film out there for the NFL scouts. Do the Rutgers players feel that way? Do the Indiana players feel that way? We just don't know. And that's the crazy thing about it. That's why Minnesota Vikings are being quarantined as well, because positive tests have been revealed in the Titans, but they played them. Yep. So, hey, they could have been doing everything right, and now they're in the same boat. So that can happen to the Buckeyes as well. It's a strange situation that we're dealing with, but all right we can do right now is just hope that everybody is remaining masked up, washing their hands, staying 6 feet apart, and hopefully this season can continue. But for the main part of the football aspect, I like our chances. I like the way it lays out. I mean, ideal world, we would want to be playing every Saturday as scheduled, but since they're starting in about 3 weeks, they get to lay in the woods and watch everything play itself out and pounce.
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, that so some other notes around college football. Notre Dame had, I think, 13 or 18 players test positive from Monday's test. I think over just under 300 tests that were given. About 18 of them have tested positive. They're already in isolation. I don't know what that means for Notre Dame's games coming up, but what does that mean for their opponents? Keep in mind, you look at Houston, a team that we would consider that's a team we would circle and say, okay, we're not going to pay too much attention to Houston. They haven't had just one game postponed due to the virus, not even 2, not 3, not 4, but all 5 games this month for Houston. Houston hasn't even kicked off yet, and their conference is kicked off. They're good. They're okay to kick off. Yeah. It's been their opponents. They've had the worst luck. And I can't tell you, by the way, football's an amazing sport. Practices suck.
Yeah.
Practices are only tolerable because that's how rewarding game day is. I can't imagine going through the month of prep for the season and then the month of this entire season just trying to stay in shape, prepping for a game that you don't know if you're going to play or not. That's 2 months of just straight practice and no game days. I feel for Houston. I really do.
Outside. Yeah. Have you ever been to Houston before?
I lived in Texas, man. I'm from El Paso. So,
so you know the heat.
Yeah, you know what they say? It's that dry heat. It's that dry heat, right? But no, I trust. Yeah. That's brutal.
It's terrible. Terrible. Quick story. One of my best friends, he lives in Houston. I went down there for his wedding, and they were having the engagement party and everything like that in his backyard. And, me and my other buddy, we were down there super early before anybody else got there. We had the joy of helping him set up his backyard. I mean, it was 90 at 10 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. With 100% humidity. It's brutal. So to go to your point, imagine that throwing a helmet on and football pads and football drills and running around, and then your payoff gets canceled. Like, all right, guys, just stick with it. We'll have another game next week. You do it again, and that game gets canceled. So it has to be frustrating for those guys. No,
it's brutal. I know the hottest heat, I guess, I've ever experienced. I was visiting some family in Las Vegas. My uncle used to be stationed there, and we were there for my cousin's graduation party, and that heat was just, you talk about in the morning. It was the hottest point of the day in Ohio during the summer. It was that times 10 at like 6 a.m. in the morning there. Like, there is no waiting for it to cool down. Like, it doesn't cool down. I'm not saying it's that bad in Houston, but yeah, that's the hottest heat that I've experienced. That was pretty Vegas was pretty brutal.
I got married in Las Vegas in August, and the day we got married.
Were you dating before? Did you just you and Shayla just realize?
I was
there on crazy drunken night.
Yeah, it was wild. It was 118 the day we got married.
Yeah, no thanks.
And they wanted us to go take pictures outside the chapel and everything like that. And
you have an outside backdrop.
Yeah, it was burning up, dude, burning up. We're just both looking at each other like, it's only going to take 10 minutes. I'm like, that's about 9 minutes too long.
Like, oh, that's adorable. Look at the pictures. They're both crying. That's sweat. We are sweating profusely right now. All right. Again, now with the college football playoff, by the time we get to that point when that comes out, there's so many. As Alabama and the SEC has even started a few weeks later than even the ACC. Mm-hmm. And I'm not worried about it. Clemson. They control their own fate. Yeah. You got to go undefeated. Right now, Clemson, by the time Ohio State kicks off on the 24th, they would have faced Miami, who currently is number 8. And again, people, I know you're rolling your eyes at the AP Top 25. To be fair, I am too. but those are real. And I always try to look at it this way. Let's say the Big Ten was one of the conferences that was ready to go from the very beginning, and it was another like let's say the ACC or SEC was coming to the party late. We would be bragging about where we fall for number 1, 2, or 3 in those. And that's what the SEC is doing. And we kind of know where some of those teams are going to fall. I don't know about Miami. I don't know. If you're a Clemson fan, you better hope that the Miami's for real. You better hope that that's a good football team that's still going to be relatively, highly ranked by the time, we get to the college football playoff, season, because they're going to need all the help they can for that resume. Now you go undefeated like they're expected to, fine. But let's say you slip up against Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. What if Clemson does slip up against Notre Dame? Because we know that they're one of the top teams in the country, and their only loss would come against Notre Dame. I would think that because they're a team that, again, back-to-back national championship game appearances, pretty much the same roster as last year, they're going to get that nod. And would Ohio State get the benefit of the doubt, playing less games than Clemson? Whew, I don't know. The reason I asked, David brings up a good point on Facebook. He says, if the Big Ten and their fans, including myself, think that the college football playoff is going to show favor to the Big Ten, I think they are thinking this. I don't think they are thinking this through. The other conferences were furious at the Big Ten for canceling. All of that will be remembered, especially if a loss happens. If Ohio State loses to Penn State in week 2, and they run the table the rest of the way through, including putting a 70 burger, so I don't have to upset the Michigan. Let's say put a 45 burger on that team up north. And you know what I mean? Like they take care of business, except for that one game against Penn State. Does Ohio State get the benefit of the doubt? You already have a loss. And one of the only good teams that you've played. And you've only played 8 games. You started the season a month and a half late. And you know what I'm saying? So David brings up a good point. That could be the concern. Like Buckeyes, they have to play perfect football. There is no in between. I don't know if they would get shown favoritism. I don't know. I really don't.
See, the thing that the ACC or Clemson has in their favor, if they lose to Notre Dame, is there's no divisions in the ACC this year.
Yep.
They're just going to go by the 2 best win percentages play in the ACC championship game. So there's a way that they could, quote unquote, redeem that loss to Notre Dame. In the Big Ten, it's still divisions. So if Ohio State loses to Penn State and Penn State runs the table, Ohio State's out because they won't have a chance to get that bonus game in the Big Ten championship game.
What's the bonus game the Big Ten's doing at the end, though? They're doing
yeah, like every team.
It's like even the 2 best. It's stupid. You should have just had a Big Ten title game. I don't get it.
It's every team plays the other team from, like, the East plays the West. So the number 1 team from the West plays the number 1 team from the East.
So basically
that is the Big Ten championship game. But the number 2 team plays the number 2 team all the way down.
Why not just call it the Big Ten championship game?
I think it is still called the Big Ten championship game.
That's what I was confused about.
But I think the other teams are playing those games so they can have a full schedule.
Okay.
List of games. It's a very weird year. Everybody's doing their own thing, which is fine because we just all gonna have to adapt and adjust. But we also gotta look at what's going on in the Pac-12. Shoot, they're only playing 7 games. So,
to be fair, I don't even know how much they would be in the conversation anyways, but good point. 7, you're really shooting yourself in the foot.
I mean, we talk about the lack of wiggle room with the Big Ten. There's 0 wiggle room in the Pac-12 as well. They have no wiggle room for cancellation of game, postponement of games, everything like that. So, I mean, at this rate, we just don't know what's going to happen with the virus, with the continuation of the games. I mean, shoot, if it's USC or Oregon or whomever goes undefeated 7-0, and then
Oklahoma already has a loss.
Yeah.
Let's say that they run the table and beat Texas later on this season. What do you do? You have an undefeated Pac-12 team. But I don't reward an undefeated Pac-12 team. And no offense, Buck, you know what you get with Ohio State. You have to reward them. Mm-hmm. But what if – no, I'm trying to think. There's not a team that can go undefeated in the Big Ten that is not going to face Ohio State. So that's a bad example. I just don't think there's another Big Ten team outside of Ohio State that would get the benefit of the doubt even with the loss, and that includes Penn State. Let's say that their only loss is Ohio State, and they run the table and beat everybody else. I don't think they're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. The only Big Ten team that will get the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion, is Ohio State. But again, what the big argument's going to be at the end is if it comes down to Oklahoma, if it comes down to a Texas, if it comes down to, heaven forbid, a second SEC team, if it comes down to Clemson and Notre Dame, And everyone's saying, well, look, Ohio State, that's all fine and dandy, but they only played 8 games. I don't know. I get where I can see where the frustration is going to start to mount as the season, but I love it. I'm going to love the talking points. It's going to be fun.
There's going to be multiple teams with losses. I knock on wood, and I don't do this type of thing, and I'm not like that guy, but I see Ohio State and Clemson, the only 2 teams that are going to go undefeated.
Yep. I'm playing the scenario game, but yeah, I'm with you.
That's just the way I see it. Like I believe that Clemson has the potential, the harder matchups. To be perfectly honest, we could talk about how bad the ACC is, but with the addition of Notre Dame and the possibility of playing Notre Dame twice, and I know, here in Big Ten country, we look down on Notre Dame, and then we got our Notre Dame stands out there that love them some Irish and everything like that. But the addition of them to the ACC conference for this season gives them 2 tough games for sure. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a good game. And then the emergence of Miami. Can we say that Ohio State has opponents like that on their schedule?
No, that's what I was just going to get to. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I was literally just looking at that. Dude, like, here's their October. Or their November. I'm sorry. Their November is Rutgers, Maryland, Indiana, and Illinois. And we can laugh at the ACC all we want, but Clemson's at least going to play Miami, and let's say Notre Dame wasn't a part of it, then we can have the comparison of schedules and say, okay, well, the schedule sucks, but the conference is better. I'm not convinced that the Big Ten, it's better than the ACC, but the addition of Notre Dame makes it a little bit more of an interesting conversation, because the top 2 teams are better than the top 2 teams in the Big Ten. Now, I'm not saying that Clemson's better than Ohio State or vice versa, but I think that they cancel one another out.
Right.
But Michigan and Notre Dame, or Michigan or Notre Dame and Penn State, I think tie goes to Notre Dame, or not, the score goes to Notre Dame at that point. So if Clemson has to play Miami, and Miami turns out to be legit, again, it's Miami. They always step their toe along the way.
They played them in 2 weeks.
So if they play Miami and they play Notre Dame, that's tougher than anything Ohio State's having to go through.
I mean, in all actuality, they could potentially play Notre Dame twice, or they could play Miami twice.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that's on the table. There is no Wisconsin Ohio State schedule this year currently. They could potentially play in the Big Ten championship game. But Penn State and Michigan, and I don't like to be that guy to try to disrespect and overlook our biggest rival just because we put it on them for, what's this, like 7 years in a row and everything like that. But, we're looking at it, and we're thinking to ourselves, like, there's no way they're going to be able to match up with us in the amount of firepower we have on the field. So I just look at it as, you know what? You don't have to worry about anything if you win the game. Just go win the games, and you'll be exactly where you want to be. And let everybody else worry about where they fall.
Yep. That's basically what it comes down to. That's why these first couple of weeks of the college football season it's been a yawn fest, but Oklahoma losing is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
These top teams losing early, or LSU going down, even though, people were overreacting to that. I never bought into LSU after Joe Burrow left. And that's not a slight at LSU. That's a tough thing to do, to replace 14. Now, is it tough for Ohio State? No. But I'm not going to hold LSU to an Ohio State expectation when there's only a few programs that do what Ohio State does, and that's Alabama and Clemson. The only 3 programs that know how to stock up, lose a ton of talent, and then pick up the next year like nothing happened. It's Ohio State, it's Clemson, it's Alabama. They're the only 3 programs doing that on a regular basis. So LSU doing what they did, it's the same thing that Auburn did after Cam Newton. They were good, but they weren't elite good. LSU is going to be good this year, but not elite good. It's going to be, Florida State. You lose, Jameis Winston. Same thing. Like, you're good, but there's certain programs that are good enough to strike while the iron's hot with a certain recruiting class. But then there's the 3 dominant programs, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, that, you look at what Clemson's done. Going from Deshaun Watson, who was after Kelly Bryant. Kelly Bryant was solid, but Trevor Lawrence was clearly the better pick.
Right.
They never missed a beat going, moving on from Deshaun Watson. You look at Ohio State, how many quarterbacks have they gone through, since winning the national championship? Now, have they won one since then? No, but they're still regularly, we're talking about them in the top 4 conversation every single year. You look at Alabama, same thing with what they're doing. Jalen Hurts, again, compared to Tua, Jalen Hurts kind of hurts your eyes a little bit, but you look at the numbers, it's like he wasn't that far off from the numbers numbers that Tua put up.
Right.
So Alabama went from Jalen Hurts to Tua. We don't know what you have right now with Mac Jones or whatever his name is. So, we'll see. But the bottom line is there's only 3 programs that can do what Ohio State, Bama, and Clemson does, and that's those programs. I'm not going to hold LSU to that same expectation. Ron Howard on Facebook says Georgia and Auburn this week. Winner could be the topic. I mean, Georgia has a lot of big games on the schedule. I mean, you have Auburn coming up. You have Alabama not too far off. Georgia could be an outlier here because Alabama, by the way, they can afford to lose one and still make the playoffs. I hate to tell people that, but it's true. Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi State. Again, you're rolling your eyes at all of them, but they're all top 25. When last year Ohio State, when you were, beating Iowa, and you were beating the top 25s in the Big Ten that no one was giving a lot of respect, we were pumping our chest for that. So I'm going to keep it, consistent as far as that goes. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. I have a couple more college football news and notes that we'll touch on the other side of the break. Regardless, I'm just excited to finally get to the point where we're gearing up for Ohio State football. They kick off on October 24th. All right, we'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show when we come back. But big news for Ohio State. They will get 2 returning additions to the roster. Could be a huge difference maker. Maybe not for the regular season schedule, but from the games that really matter, which they're pursuing, and that's the college football playoff. We'll discuss when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy with a high near 65. Tonight will also be partly cloudy with a low around 47. And tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy and windy with a slight chance of showers, a high near 68. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. Our Roosters family would like to thank all of our loyal Roosters guests who have supported us during these challenging times. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to keep our team members employed. We are striving to do everything we can to keep you and our team safe. Find a location near you at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Mike Foley is proud to serve you as our Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, and he's asking for your vote again this November. Mike is a father, an Army veteran, and has been a small business owner for over 20 years. He's not a career politician, but a leader that gets things done. Mike Foley has saved taxpayers over $3 million in less than 2 years in office by running the clerk's office more efficiently. He truly brings the courthouse to the community. For all the right reasons, let's re-elect Mike Foley, Montgomery County Clerk of Courts.
This is Mike Foley, and I approve this message.
Save big money in your next project at Menards. Choose your paint colors with confidence with Dutch Boy Paints. They provide a beautiful look to your projects and are durable in indoor and outdoor applications. Right now, all Dutch Boy Paints are 11% off. Stop waiting and start saving today on everything you need. Prices are good until October 3rd. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards. Your state,
Hi folks, it's me again to let you know that we've just unloaded a semi-load of fresh new landscape plants of all types. We have nice dwarf Alberta spruce, Mugo pines, taxus, pyramid arborvitae for privacy hedge, lots of nice boxwoods, magnolias, white pines, dwarf blue spruce, topiary shrubs, fat Albert blue spruce, and dwarf Japanese red maples, and dozens of other varieties of shrubs. We also have thousands of shade trees, flowering trees, and fruit trees, and weeping trees. One of the most popular trees is the Cleveland Select flowering pear, which blooms in the spring with nice white blossoms. Every yard should have one. Our 6-acre garden center at 1309 Brand Pike is Dayton's biggest, and we've been in business since 1963. Come out and see why.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your car insurance with Right Track, which rewards you for safe driving.
As the world's most careful driver, that's perfect. Now applying 2 pounds of force for acceleration. You really turning in 0.3 miles and begin a deceleration.
With Liberty Mutual's Right Track, you could earn up to 30% savings based on how you drive. Sign up at libertymutual.com/righttrack.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Discount on participating vehicles, base coverages only. Availability varies.
Third floor study hall. My dining room table. Homeroom Monday and Tuesday. My living room Wednesday to Friday.
Wherever school happens for you this year, Staples has amazing prices on everything your student needs. This week, get 20% off copies and prints for school. That's 20% off posters, worksheets, schedules, and reports. Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on. Staples. Visit staples.com/school printing for coupon. In-store only. Exclusions apply. Ends 10/31. Curbside available in most stores.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every home run.
It is gone into the second deck and left. A 2-run home run by Eugenio Suarez.
Cincinnati Reds baseball. Catch every game right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Back to the famous WING studios. Here's Justin Kinner and Kev Nash.
Two of the top defenses in the National Football League are set up to go head-to-head coming up this weekend, or at least so we thought, and I think it's going to happen now again because two of the top defenses in the National Football League, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Tennessee Titans, well, COVID tried to take care of both of them, but the defense is too strong. Apparently, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, NFL wants and intends to play the Titans-Steelers game as scheduled on Sunday. One of the contingency plans is to allow for additional testing and contact tracing to occur. All they were going to do is just move the game to Monday night, which will, of course, be some of the regular protocols moving forward, that if there are games not played on Monday or on Sunday as intended, they will either be moved to they'll be moved to Monday night. So expect to still see Titans and Steelers, one of the top NFL matchups coming up as we head into week 4. So
major questions. I have so many follow-up questions. If I was interviewing him, I would ask, if their facility is shut down, how are they going to practice?
Right now, everything's being done remotely, just like they were doing workouts remotely in the off season. And there's still some other there's a secondary site that some of the players, that the position coaches or the positions are still meeting up. Right now, it's not a thing of conditioning. Obviously, the players they're professionals. They're expected to remain in shape and they'll work out. A lot of the stuff is just you're not doing a lot of hitting anyways during the season. So I get that, but you're right. It's still not the same though. Yeah, prepping remotely, but it's everything during the week anyways, and game prep week anyways. It's not a lot of contact. It's not a lot of hitting. It's a lot of walkthroughs. It's a lot of film sessions, and that's basically what this is. There's going to be a lot more of this to begin with, I guess. So from everything I've read today,
my rebuttal for that would be like, all right, if I'm a Tennessee Titans player, especially that first possession of offense, we know this by watching tons of football. Their first series, every team in the NFL, their first series is scripted, and they script those plays, and those are the plays that they rep the most in practice. Yes, you're not hitting, you're not going live, but you are repping those plays, and that's why everybody's first drives always look so crisp, because those are the plays that they practice the most. These are the ones that are most important. If they don't practice as a team, they are at a clear disadvantage. And I just don't think that's fair. And I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I just don't think that's right. I think that they should just put all right, hey, this is a bye week. Going to have to be a bye week until we get everything situated. If they're unable to practice in person, I think that's totally unfair. I think that put them so far behind the 8 ball, man. This is the regular season. All these games are supposed to count. And if they're actually not able to practice in person, I think that's totally unfair.
Well, to be fair, when you compare it to other regular seasons and other sports that are playing during a pandemic, there's nothing fair about how Major League Baseball season was. You have some teams playing to almost 27-inning games versus everyone else having to play 9.
The Cardinals.
Like the COVID Cardinals. Yeah, in the NBA, you had teams who got to rest. I mean, look, nothing ever happened with Portland, but Portland was good enough to potentially go on a run.
I said the same thing about that. I thought it was totally unfair that they basically got 3 new starters.
What I mean, look at Denver. Porter, what's the kid's name?
Michael Porter Jr.
He wasn't healthy during the regular season, and it's almost like this playoffs for the NBA is almost a different season. Yeah. It really is. Like, this is technically LeBron's 18th season, technically right here, because the gap between when the games ended in March and when they picked back up in July, end of July.
Yeah.
That was longer than a typical off season. Like, that's longer than a typical off season. So, it's a very strange. So I get your point, but at the same time, teams are going to have to be flexible with a lot of different things. The NFL, it's just going to look more glaring only because they're the only regular season sport that started on time and that is as close to normal. Like, there's really nothing different about this NFL season outside of no fans at the games, right? Masks in stadiums and stuff like that. But like, from a strategic standpoint, nothing has changed as far as, game prep and everything. So this might be those things that the NFL has to adjust to. I don't know, but you're right. If the Steelers come out and say, forget that, we're not playing without prep or whatever, one of those, but it's going to come down to, if these two teams do play come Sunday or Monday night without having a physical practice, and the Steelers could practice, they're not. This is really a Vikings problem. This is a Vikings and Titans problem. Because the Vikings are technically who they, the Vikings shut things down too to do, a round of testing, which, by the way, the first round of testing since Sunday, all the results came back yesterday, positive, or negative, I'm sorry, but they did a second round of testing today. So really you have to wait about 24 hours until we find out what's going on as far as that. By the way, the Big Ten, their testing is better than the NFL's.
This thing is a total cluster.
If I'm Roger Goodell, I would have pouted and threatened to sit out too. Maybe President Trump would have given them the 5-minute testing or 15-minute testing or whatever it was that the Big Ten got. You know what I mean? Like,
the NBA has the rapid test too.
Yeah. So
how is the most popular league and the league that makes the most money don't have the 5-minute rapid test? Like, dudes are like, forgive me, hocking a loogie, and then they're finding out if they got it or not. They still out here doing the nose thing like they me and you going to CVS.
Yep. Better call ahead. Those lines are long, I tell you that much. Tell you that much, but no, interesting nonetheless. Okay, we didn't get to this Buckeye thing. Now we're going to get to it when we come back. When we come back, Ohio State got great news about the return of two players that are definitely going to help the Buckeyes potentially win a national championship. Of course, a lot has to happen between now and then, but this is definitely great news for the Buckeyes. Also, a big decision was made for the Georgia Bulldogs for their football program. This could have an impact not just on their game coming up this weekend, the Top 25 showdown, but with their game with Alabama in a few weeks. I'll tell you both of those news and notes when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Making it easier for you to get the frickin' chicken. Remember Frickers.com. That puts you in touch with everything you crave. Frickin' chicken wings, burgers, ribs, salads, wraps, everything you crave. Should you crave an ice-cold domestic draft beer? Join us and dine in. We have a 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6. Dine in, carry out, delivery, and now order online at Frickers.com. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is the home to order online at Frickers.com.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows. So when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
I absolutely love my dog, but the constant shedding, not so much. But then I got a Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, and it is amazing. These super thick cloths pick up a crazy amount of hair. Just look at all that. And that was from just one swipe. And the best part? Sweeper's so much easier to maneuver than a broom or a vacuum, easily getting around chairs and under the couch. You're right. Now I can focus on you, not your shedding. Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, because shed happens.
O'Reilly. It's O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts, where you can earn bonus points on more than 250 offers, like Bosch Icon Wiper Blade, save $8 per pair, and earn double O Rewards points. Online or in-store, get $5 for every 150 points you earn. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You run a business and you need better wireless. 3 words, no more compromise. With the T-Mobile Business Advantage, you get the largest 5G network, award-winning customer support, and insanely great value. No trade-offs. Right now, get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans when you switch via bill credits. Stop in to find out more. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Complete port within 60 days. Customers over 50 gigabytes per month have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p, unlimited on our network. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices coverage and plan details.
Hooray fans, listen up. This season, Pepsi is looking for one Bengals fan to sign a fan endorsement deal. The winner gets gear, season tickets, a photo shoot, a billboard, and so much more. All you have to do is participate in the weekly challenges at MadeForBengalsWatching.com, and you could be named the official Hooray fan. So, are you Bengals enough? Pepsi, made for football watching. Grab some delicious, refreshing Pepsi at Kroger before the next Bengals game day. Pepsi, made for football watching. Head to Kroger and grab Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Cincinnati Bengals. Open to residents of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. 18 plus. For rules, visit MadeForBengalsWatching.com. Contest ends 11/21/20.
3rd floor study hall. My dining room table. Homeroom Monday and Tuesday. My living room Wednesday to Friday.
Wherever school happens for you this year, Staples has amazing prices on everything your student needs. This week, get 20% off copies and prints for school. That's 20% off posters, worksheets, schedules, and reports. Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on. Staples. Visit staples.com/school printing for coupon. In-store only. Exclusions apply. Ends 10/31. Curbside available in most stores.
Other banks charge fees on savings and checking accounts. Doesn't sound good, does it?
Capital One reimagined banking. So it sounds more like this. With Capital One, you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. Get started now at a Capital One location or online. Sound good to you? This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Approval required. Offered by Capital One NA, member FDIC. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Today, being there for one another is more important than ever. At Kettering Health Network, our caregivers are dedicated to helping you stay safe and well. We're open and ready to care for you. From treating emergencies to regular wellness visits, count on us to deliver the exceptional care you've come to expect. Kettering Health Network. Together, supporting each other. Learn more at ketteringhealth.org.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from The Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I have had CertaPro painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State-themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro painters knows how to get the job done right, and most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time, they get the job done right and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
Follow ESPN 1410 Wing AM on Facebook to watch The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Listen, stream, and now watch. It's The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, everybody, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz will be joining us coming up here just over a half hour from now, and you can catch Jason Fitz weekday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, one half of Spain and Fitz, weekday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m., but he'll be joining us every Tuesday at 4:30 talking college football and NFL, and he'll join us coming up at 4:30 just around the corner. For those of you who are at work and listen to Wing throughout the day, for one, thank you. But tomorrow you'll be able to listen to Reds baseball. Tomorrow, the Cincinnati Reds, and of course, in the playoffs, the Cincinnati Reds will be going head to head with an opponent that I think many people are obviously giving the favoritism to in the number 2 seed, the Braves. I like the Reds' chances. We're going to go 3 up, 3 down with the Reds here at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. 3 reasons why I believe they could beat the Braves. 3 reasons why I think they will lose to the Braves. We'll get to that coming up here in just over 5 minutes. But take a look at at the playoff brackets. We'll also go through matchup by matchup and predictions for who's going to win and get to the World Series. I have the Reds going pretty far in the playoffs, very surprisingly. I'm like one of the most negative Reds fans I've been told out there, but I'm pretty confident in their ability come playoff time as far as that is concerned. All right, a couple college football headlines here as we close out hour number one. Ohio State Buckeyes Shaun Wade and Wyatt Davis have been cleared, and after opting to come back to play. Again, they never hired an agent, or there was no, handing of money. Wink, wink, nod, nod, just say this, say that, sign on the dotted line, and off you go. Ohio State Buckeyes All-American candidates Shaun Wade and Wyatt Davis have been cleared to play this season after opting back in. Ryan Day said both players would be eligible during an interview on The Fan in Columbus yesterday. A team captain for the Buckeyes, Wade was listed by Mel Kiper as the number 7 prospect on his big board earlier this month. Todd McShay's number 2 cornerback and number 13 prospect overall for the 21 NFL draft. So that was a weird little scenario there. That week I was off when I went to Pensacola or whatever. I know that week he had announced, like, just when there was momentum of all these reports coming out that the Big Ten was going to be announcing in the next couple of days that they were going to be coming back, Shaun Wade opts out. It made no dang sense. I'm glad he's back. I'm glad Wyatt Davis is back because I want no excuses. Because it is going to come down between Ohio State, Clemson, barring any other collapses or, COVID issues on the outside. It's going to come down between those two teams. And if Ohio State beats Clemson, I want them to be full force. And if Clemson beats Ohio State, I don't want to hear from Ohio State fans, well, if we had Wade, if we had Davis. No, everyone's going to be ready to go, barring any injuries. Right. Of course. But I thought that was pretty big news as well. As for the Georgia Bulldogs out of the SEC, transfer quarterback from USC, JT Daniels, no surprise here. The NCAA always finds the right reasons to clear a quarterback, and the quarterback for Georgia has been cleared, and he will be available for Georgia's top 10 matchup showdown with Auburn coming up this weekend. Now, Kirby Smart, I listened to a radio interview with him earlier today. Clearly, JT Daniels is not going to be the starter against Auburn coming up, but they are working with him all week, and he's going to be as prepared can be going up against Auburn. But keep in mind, they have a matchup with Alabama here in a few weeks. That Georgia-Alabama matchup will happen before Ohio State comes back to play, so it's going to be interesting as far as that's concerned. And then David Shaw says, "Go ahead, Justin, keep overlooking Bama." What are you talking about? Have you not heard me compliment Bama this whole time? I've been doing nothing but talking about Bama. When you look at the fact that they're going to have 4 top 25 matchups before Ohio State even kicks off, I haven't been underplaying Bama at all. I have Bama as a lock to make the playoff right now. Bama can afford to lose a game. Bama will probably lose a game between now and the final college football playoff selection show, and they will make the playoff. They will be one of the one-loss. I don't anticipate Alabama to go undefeated, but I do anticipate them to be a one-loss team in the college football playoff. I really do. I do not. Ohio State cannot lose a game. They lose a game, they're out. They're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. You're already only playing 8 games. Clemson, you can lose a game if it's to Notre Dame. You only get one free pass if you're Clemson, and that's Notre Dame. Outside of that, Georgia, you got to be perfect. Georgia's looked rough. Not really rough. They just look like, hey, there's been no preseason. Well, there's really not preseason in college to begin with, but there technically is. There's a reason that the first week or two is always boring in the NCAA anyways. And why, Kev? Because they usually schedule the Miami of Ohio's or the Bethune-Cookmans or whatever. Game. Yeah, the tune-up. There is no tune-up games. That's another reason I'm not panicking about a lot of the teams going down early. A lot of the teams that are going down early right now, they're going up against division of opponents, and regardless of the talent of those opponents, like I still said this before, Maryland would be a very tough week 1 opponent in comparison to what your normal week 1 opponents are. Maryland's not a tough opponent, Kev. That's not what I'm saying. They're definitely not tough come November when they play them. But if you had to choose between Miami of Ohio or Florida Atlantic in week 1 or Maryland in week 1, I think you would rather play the other two. And again, that sounds like I'm giving way too much credit to Maryland. I'm not. But you see my point as far as that is concerned.
I just wanted to touch on Wyatt Davis real quick.
Yep.
Wyatt Davis is a projected first-round pick at guard. Normally, offensive line, it's tackle, center. To be a first-round pick at guard, that means how good he is. He is one of the best offensive linemen in the country. That is a huge thing for Ohio State to get back. Him and Josh Myers anchoring that offensive line. I see the Buckeyes having the best offensive line in college football this year. I cannot wait to see the Buckeyes on the field this year.
Yeah, they're going to be so dominant up front. David, after saying that I keep overlooking Alabama, he says, you keep saying it's Ohio State and Clemson. That's all I'm saying. The reason I keep saying it's Ohio State and Clemson is because I think and here's the deal. I put Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama in a little pocket all by themselves. There are no other programs like those three. Georgia's flirting with it, but the only programs that are championship contenders every year, that are top 3 in recruiting rankings every year, that are always in the preseason top 5 every year. It's Clemson, it's Alabama, and it's Ohio State. That's kind of how I view that as far as that's concerned. But the reason I'm giving the nod to Clemson and Ohio State over Alabama is because of quarterback play. Now, Jones might change that, but as of right now, the top 2 teams, because of the 2 best quarterbacks in the country, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. Plus, I think selfishly, I just want to see that matchup in the college football playoff. Let's just be clear. Check that. The championship game. All right, Reds fans, 3 reasons why the Reds will beat the Braves in their wild card series and 3 reasons why they'll lose. We'll go 3 and out with your Cincinnati Reds as we kick off hour number 2, 4 o'clock hour next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
Good night.
There's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
3rd floor study hall. My dining room table. Homeroom Monday and Tuesday. My living room Wednesday to Friday.
Wherever school happens for you this year, Staples has amazing prices on everything your student needs. This week, get 20% off copies and prints for school. That's 20% off posters, worksheets, schedules, and reports. Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on. Staples. Visit staples.com/school printing for coupon. In-store only. Exclusions apply. Ends 10/31. Curbside available in most stores.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
For the first time in 7 years, the Cincinnati Reds are back in the playoffs. Don't miss a second of the Reds in the MLB wildcard round as they go head-to-head with the Atlanta Braves. Every hit, every pitch, right here on Dayton's home of the Reds. 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, welcome back. Hour 2. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We will open up the phone lines now at 457-9464. Of course, opened up for the hour number 1, talking a lot of college football. I mean, it's crazy. Ohio State kicks off the season on October 24th. And when you look at what's all going to happen between now and October 24th, the college football world is not slowing down waiting for Ohio State. I mean, Alabama would have had 4 top 25 matchups before Ohio State officially kicks off on the 24th. Clemson, they'll have a top 25 showdown with Miami. I don't know how legit Miami is. It'll be a top 10 showdown. I don't know how legit Miami is. We've seen them start hot. We've seen them have hot starts to the seasons in other years. Is this Miami team for real? But we do know that Clemson, of course, has Miami, and they'll have Notre Dame, weeks down the road. But maybe Clemson will have a couple more resume building games on there than we anticipated as far as that goes. Georgia has Auburn this weekend. They have Alabama in a few weeks. They got JT Daniels back. So the college football landscape is really going to be interesting by the time Ohio State kicks off their season on the 24th. And Ohio State won't have time to kind of be eased into the season. They're going to have to not just beat opponents, but they're going to have to look good doing it. The one plus for Ohio State is it's not like it's Alabama where you kind of don't know what they are offensively. You just give them, you trust them because it's Alabama. And Ohio State's getting trust because they're Ohio State. But the Buckeyes are also getting a lot of trust because they know, you have a returning Heisman finalist in Justin Fields. The run game, and that's going to be the one thing. The one thing that Ohio State will benefit from is that Master Teague has had all this extra time. He wasn't even supposed to be 100% by the time the season started if Ohio State would have kicked the season off on time, or if college football would have kicked off on time originally. So there was supposed to be no Master Teague. Now he's going to be ready to go. You have Trey Sermon. So technically the Buckeyes run game is way deeper than we even anticipated had a regular season happened as far as that goes. And to be clear, those young receivers, Kev, you think this extra practice time is a bad thing for them? No. They might be more seasoned than what your typical freshman receivers are when they debut, because of all the extra practice time, with all the extra time they've had with Justin Fields now. So I think Ohio State's in good shape. When we talk about giving them the benefit of the doubt, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt because you kind of already know who they are. They return the most experienced offensive line in college football. All right, they've what you're getting on the defensive side of the ball. Sure, they lose Chase Young and others, but again, it's just all about next man up mentality. I hate that phrase, but it's true when it comes to Ohio State. So we'll get back into some college football talk later on in the show. ESPN's Jason Fitz, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz is going to join us coming up here at 4:30. We'll talk some college football and NFL with him, some Browns-Bengals talk around the corner. But I want to talk a little baseball. The Cincinnati Reds will be in action tomorrow at noon, 11:30, the pregame. Reds-Braves game 1 of a 3-game NL wildcard series. The Reds have not been in the playoffs for 7 years. And right now they hit the ground running with potentially, for once, it's 2020 is a year of first, a lot of firsts for your Reds. It's the first time in 7 years they've been back in the playoffs, and they could have their very first Cy Young winner in Trevor Bauer, who, by the way, will be pitching tomorrow's Game 1 matchup between the Reds and the Braves. Let's take a look at the playoff, what the playoff graphic looks like. I'm sorry, what the bracket looks like. You have the Reds and the Braves, of course, going head-to-head. The winner will go on to face the Marlins and Cubs. How about this stat, Kev? The Marlins have never lost a playoff game. Every playoff they've ever been in, they've won a World Series. Yeah. So expect Derek Jeter to blow this roster up this summer, or this no, not this summer, I guess, this winter, whatever you want to call it, after the season, if they go on to win the World Series. The Reds have the most favorable path to at least the NL, to at least their NL championship game, or to their divisional championship game. I like the Reds' chances against the Braves. They have really good chances against the Cubs and Marlins. I'm not going to say that about the Dodgers, but I think it'll be interesting as far as that goes. You have the Yankees and the Indians later tonight. I know you're excited about that. Baby,
Let's go.
The winner of that series gets rewarded with, possibly the best team in baseball, in the Rays. So there's that.
Don't remind me.
Absolutely. All right. So the Reds and Braves tomorrow. Let's do a little 3 up, 3 down with your Cincinnati Reds. 3 reasons why the Reds will beat the Braves in the NL Wildcard Series, and 3 reasons why the Reds will lose to the Braves in the NL Wildcard Series. I'll start with the 3 reasons why I believe that the Reds will beat the Atlanta Braves in this NL Wildcard Series. And by the way, we are live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. You can also find us on the ESPN Dayton Facebook page and watch along. Give us your 3 up, 3 down. In the comments section, we'll be able to pull your comments into the show and display your 3 up, 3 down. 3 up, 3 down, 3 reasons why the Reds will win. Right off the bat, this isn't a secret. Trevor Bowers, Luis Castillo, and Sonny Gray. I think it's very obvious why the Reds have a chance to win when you have a trio like this: Trevor Bauer, Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray. Those 3 right there, mainly because this is also a 3-game series. If you're telling me that the Reds and Braves are going to play a 7-game series, I become a little iffy. I think there's a lot more doors that are going to be open for the Braves to take advantage of. But in a 3-game series, the Reds have the better pitching, the better starting pitching. Trevor Bauer, Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray, that 1-2-3 punch. I think that definitely gives the Reds an advantage in this series. The one reason I believe the Reds beat the Braves in the NL Wildcard Series is, that reason right there. The other reason I believe that the Reds have a shot to beat the Atlanta Braves in this NL Wildcard Series: Nick Castellanos and Mike Moustakas. You knew what you had heading into this season from last year, of course, whenever you had Eugenio Suarez, who was battling it out for a potential home run title last year. You have an aged Joey Votto who still led the team, in batting average this season. All right, you know what you're going to get with a lot of those guys. Now, what they went out and did was add a little bit of depth. Jesse Winker, who was looked at as one of the best hitters on the team, I had my doubts about. He had one of the hottest, starts. Actually, a slow start, got extremely hot, cooled back down. But even him cooling down, still one of the top hitters in baseball. So you knew what you had with Winker, you knew you had with Votto and Eugenio Suarez. But what they did was add Mike Moustakas, an experienced playoff bat, and then the same thing with Castellanos. Castellanos is the only Reds player in that lineup that has played in all 60 games this season. He has been one of the top offensive threats for the Reds, and I think when you have a hot Castellanos, you have Moustakas, you have Eugenio Suarez, Joey Votto. All right, everyone's been doing this little sad story about, Joey Votto, he deserves a playoff appearance. He deserves one more playoff run. Joey Votto better step up. He better step up for this team. He better produce, because that's what everyone's been talking about, and I believe that he will. I think Joey Votto is going to rise to the occasion. So I think that forget what the numbers show. This team as a whole hit .212 on the year. It's the lowest total team average since 1910. That's horrible, not just for the Reds, but in all of baseball. This is the worst hitting for average team in the history of baseball, at least since 1910. That's really bad. So I'm throwing that out the window. This team has been hot as of late. I mean, the last 13 games that they've had to play, 15 games just to get into the playoffs, they've one of the hottest teams in baseball. So that lineup, that rotation, and then I'm going to say it, the bullpen. The bullpen's why I believe that this team will win. The whole reason that I literally destroyed this team all season was this bullpen. But this bullpen is honestly the glue that pulled everything together. When you look at the Cincinnati Reds, yes, it was the hitting problems that slowed them down at times, but we know that the Reds are capable of hitting. We know that the Reds are capable of having dominant starting pitching. We're weary of the bullpen, but I think that the bullpen, the way they pitched the final 15 games of the season, that's what we expected out of them going all the way back to July when the season initially started. So to me, I'm very confident that the Reds have figured it out over the last 2 weeks, and I'm very confident that the Reds can win this series against the Braves. So one more time, 3 up, 3 down. My top 3 reasons why I believe the Reds will beat the Braves in the NL Wildcard Series: Bauer, Gray, and Castillo, the 1-2-3 punch. My second reason, Castellanos, Moustakas, Castellanos, Moustakas, the new veteran bats that you added into the guys that were gelling together over the last couple of seasons, and then the bullpen with Lorenzen. And I'm excited about Iglesias, who has blown so many games, as crazy as this sounds. But if he pitches the way he has as of late, this could be the difference. This is the reason that everyone had so much confidence in this Reds team to begin with. Any nitpicks on the reasons why I'm confident in their ability to win this series?
I don't, but I do have a question. Obviously, this whole season has been without fans. Technically, they're going on the road.
Yep.
Do you think that has any effect on the outcome of the series?
Will Atlanta have fans?
No.
then no, I think that's actually what helps. If Atlanta was going to be sold out regular season, like this was a regular season, I should say normal. If this was a normal regular season and it's set up for a normal postseason, I would be very concerned about the Reds playing on the road. Maybe not as concerned because Trevor Bauer would be on the mound, but I think the fact that, Atlanta, that's great that you're playing at home. The only plus you have there is that you're just comfortable that you get to sleep in your own beds at night, but you're not going to have that extra juice from the fans. The Braves won't have that extra juice from the fans, and the Reds won't have that juice from the fans working against them. Thank you for giving me that one too. That's an additional reason why I believe the Reds have a chance to win this series against the Braves. All right, we are live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show. I'm already seeing a couple of the 3 up, 3 downs, 3 reasons why the Reds will beat the Braves in the series, 3 reasons why they will lose. We're going to display those coming up in a moment. Here are my 3 reasons why I believe the Reds will not win this series against the Braves. Max Fried, how about this? The starting pitcher, the lefty for the Atlanta Braves. Here's my concern, Kev. The Reds' traditional starting lineup, they are 1 for 18 career against Fried.
That's not good.
With no runs. They are 1 for 18. This lineup for the Reds, the main core of their lineup, again, because with David Bell, you never know what the lineup's going to be, but the main core of their lineup is 1 for 18 career against Max Fried. That has me concerned. Again, that's only game 1. But let's be clear, we put all the eggs in the basket of Trevor Bauer, right?
Right.
So that's where I'm concerned. You can't lose tomorrow. You can still win this series if you lose tomorrow, but you can't lose tomorrow. There's a lot going against the Reds if they lose game 1. Sure, you have Luis Castillo, but that'll be his first playoff game ever that he'll be pitching in game 2. You don't want him facing an elimination game. But the Reds lineup, the Reds offensive players have not had success against this starting pitcher. But again, we'll see what that exactly means come tomorrow at noon. Reason number 2, the Reds' inconsistent hitters, which is kind of feeding off of that. They haven't had success against Fried, but you kind of don't know what you get with this Reds lineup from time to time. What I do feel good about is the fact that they've had a lot of contributions from guys down at the bottom of the order. I mean, Tucker Barnhart's had some big hits over the last week and a half. How about Freddie Galvis? Freddie Galvis was huge against the Twins. He was huge against the Twins and being a spark, for that team. Friday night, I was in the car listening to the Reds game, and Freddie Galvis had quite a few big hits down the stretch in that game 1 of the Twins series win that they had that in essence punched their ticket to become into the playoffs. So that's big. But the Reds' inconsistent hitters are what I'm concerned about. Jesse Winker has to be the good Jesse Winker. Votto can't be the Joey Votto. Joey Votto needs to be the Joey Votto of old and not old Joey Votto. Suarez needs to be who he was last year. And then Castellanos, Moustakas, as long as they do what they were brought here to do, they'll be fine. But the problem is that has not been the Reds' mantra all season. That's what I'm concerned about. And the reason number 3 that I'm concerned why the Reds will lose in the playoffs, simply put, David Bell. David Bell. This dude panics in the regular season. I can't imagine his nerves in the playoffs. Like, every moment is big in a game, but like this guy literally freaks out and makes the craziest decisions throughout the regular season when you have plenty of time to let things pan out. I'm really concerned about the trigger finger that he's going to have during a playoff run. That's what I'm concerned about. Like if for instance, game 2, if Luis Castillo just even looks remotely inaccurate in his first couple pitches, I'm curious how he's going to respond. How quickly will he get the bullpen up and rolling? I'm also curious that if Luis Castillo doesn't have a good outing in game 2 and they have to use Sonny Gray to kind of come in and save the day in game 2 to force a game 3, is he going to go to Tyler Mahle, or is he going to try one of those stupid opener games where you let Michael Lorenzen pitch the first 2 innings of game 3? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm concerned about. So my top 3 reasons why I'm concerned that the Reds will lose this series: Max Fried, the Reds 1 for 18 against this pitcher. Of course, inconsistency at times throughout this lineup. And then David Bell, his decision-making really concerns me. But to be fair, his decision-making could be what helps this team at times, but I'm not willing to give him that benefit of the doubt. Let's see what he does in this series against the Braves. All right, 457-9464. I want to hear from you, Reds fans. Your 3 up, your 3 down. Let's go to Facebook. David Shaw says that the 3 reasons that the Reds will beat the Braves: Bauer, Gray, and Iglesias, 2 of the 3 starters, and then, of course, Iglesias on the back end, to kind of bookend it. 3 reasons the Reds will lose: of course, Acuna, Albies, and Freeman, the 3 big offensive weapons for the Braves in that lineup. Ron says, you mean David Bell? Ron, what did I say? Did I say David Bell?
I think you said David Bell.
Now, Ron's probably thinking Rays, so he ain't listening anyway. Travis says the Reds, the reasons that the Reds will win: starting pitching, number 2, Jesse Winker, and number 3, veteran leadership. And I think that is key too. I think that's what this team has. You have a lot of players in the playoffs for the first time, but you have a lot of veterans on this team and a good mixture of guys like Sonny Gray, like Trevor Bauer, like Mike Moustakas and Castellanos. Votto's even been here before. So I think that this team's in good shape as far as that is concerned when that goes. And then Travis says the reasons that the Reds will lose: 1, David Bell; 2, David Bell. Oh, no, he goes, I ruined it, Travco, my bad. Travis says the reason that the Reds will lose: reason number 1, David Bell; reason number 2, David Bell's iPad; and number 3, the ghost of Dusty Baker. So there you go. Hey, I'll take Dusty Baker right now. Of course, it might be a Dusty Baker result. They may not win this series. You never know.
They don't have trash cans working in their favor anymore.
All right. Jeff McPherson on Facebook says you should have had Bell number 1. He will F this up. He put the stars. He put the letter F, and then wow, a lot of I didn't mean to get the snowball rolling for our guy David Bell.
Oh, sure you didn't.
Well, there you go. All right, so we're going to keep it here, Kev. We're going to keep it here real quick because coming up here at 4:30, we're going to be joined by ESPN's Jason Fitz at 4:30. We'll talk some college football with him as well as Browns, Bengals, and more. So that's coming up. But yeah, so not a lot of positivity going in the direction of David Bell. And I talked about this with Hal McCoy last week. The Reds making the playoffs. I've not heard a lot of chatter about David Bell losing his job. I think what this season's struggles did at the beginning was it set up next year being the hot seat year. I don't think at any point David Bell was, there was a chance that he was going to lose his job by any means. I do believe, though, however, that this was setting up the hot seat year. I don't know if I think that this playoff series really, there's a lot riding on it. I think that if the Reds beat the Braves, that David Bell can lose next year and still not be in the hot seat. But if the Reds get swept in the playoffs, if they get swept with Trevor Bauer, potential Cy Young winner on the mound, and then of course look at not Iglesias, I'm sorry, but Castillo in game 2, now you got to be concerned. Now you got to be concerned as far as that's concerned. But I do believe that if the Reds win a playoff series with David Bell, not just getting there, because by the way, folks, let's be clear, I'm not going to give a ton of credit to David Bell for getting them there. Because this team was built to get there. You were supposed to get there. You know what I mean? Like, I always say this all the time. Like, I laugh when I hear people, when, your bosses say, hey, you're doing a good job of arriving to work early. Like, you don't need to compliment employees for showing up to work early. You're supposed to arrive to work early. You're supposed to be on time, right? Well, David Bell, this team was supposed to make the playoffs. You think they brought in Mike Moustakas and Castellanos and Trevor Bauer and Sonny Gray over the years? You think that they did all of that just so that you can maybe make no. So David Bell did what he was supposed to. You were supposed to make the playoffs, but you also made it harder than it was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to come down to the final weekend when you have one of the best pitching rotations in baseball. It wasn't supposed to come down to the final weekend when you have on paper a lineup coming in that really we should not have been fretting about the final weekend of the season. It should have been, hey, where are we going to be seated the final week of the season? Not, man, are we even going to make it? So to sum up, David Bell, the Reds on the playoffs, they're supposed to be. This was a playoff roster. This was a playoff team. And I give them credit, too, because, hey, this is the best division in baseball. 4 of the 5 teams in the division made the playoffs. David Shaw says, what are you talking about, Kev? Dusty had nothing to do with the trash cans. Did you say? What'd you say?
Yeah. I'm talking about the Houston Astros as a.
Oh, what'd you say?
As a whole company, as a whole team. If you look at some of their best players, they're down they're batting like in the low 200s, and last year they were in the mid 3s.
Altuve, I think, hit 221 on the year.
Yeah.
And he got him in the playoffs.
Yeah. Everybody's in the playoffs this year, though.
That is true. That is true. I'm. It's not the popular opinion. I really like Dusty.
Yeah,
I really like Dusty. Hal McCoy mentioned this the other day when he was on the show. He goes, "Hey, a lot of people, banged on Dusty, but this is the first time the Reds have been back to the playoffs since Dusty. There was a ton of losing post Dusty. So I'm just saying, I do believe they would have gotten over that eventually in the playoffs with Dusty Baker. I really do. But at the same time, I also believe that rebuild was on the verge of happening, and Dusty Baker wasn't going to stick around for a rebuild. That's why I always said Brian Price, I forgave him for losing with no talent. It was tough for me to forgive David Bell for losing with talent as far as that's concerned. He goes on to say the Reds should have been worrying about who they were playing at Great American Ballpark. That's a fair point. I believe that the Reds were good enough to be a top four seed in the Major League Baseball playoffs. That's just me. But I'm happy that they're in, but I am curious what this does for the talks of David Bell. I don't know what the confidence level is in him moving forward. This team made the playoffs, but you barely made it in, and this team is good enough to make it in. Travis says Dusty lost his job when he blew a 2-0 lead with 3 games left at home to San Francisco. Yeah, that San Francisco team. Travis, do you think that San Fran team, is that better than the Braves team that they're about to play? Not that has anything to do with what Dusty did then. I'm just curious. Because I am curious. The teams that the Reds have to play are not that – it's not that difficult to beat these. The Braves do not intimidate me as a Reds fan. The Marlins definitely don't intimidate me. The Cubs are a little intimidating because it's the Cubs, but this team's not better than the 2016 World Series Cubs. Mm-hmm. The Dodgers intimidate me, but hey, that's quite the run in the playoffs if you get all the way to the National League, championship series. So we'll see. All right, folks, we'll get back into some baseball talk coming up here in just a little bit. Let's talk about your Cincinnati Bengals. Let's talk about your Cleveland Browns. Let's talk some college football. That's all coming up. We have ESPN's Jason Fitz. He joins us next. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy with a high near 65. Tonight will also be partly cloudy with a low around 47. And tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy and windy with a slight chance of showers, a high near 68. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
To make sure the air in your home is absolutely perfect, call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering $1,350 in rebates plus payments as low as $132 a month on a new Lennox system. Call 937-222-8638 today. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Hi folks, it's me again to let you know that we've just unloaded a semi-load of fresh new landscape plants of all types. We have nice dwarf Alberta spruce, mugo pines, taxus, pyramid arborvitae for privacy hedge, lots of nice boxwoods, magnolias, white pines, dwarf blue spruce, topiary shrubs, fat Albert blue spruce, and dwarf Japanese red maples, and dozens of other varieties of shrubs. We also have thousands of shade trees, flowering trees, and fruit trees, and weeping trees. One of the most popular trees is the Cleveland Select flowering pear, which blooms in the spring with nice white blossoms. Every yard should have one. Our 6-acre garden center at 1309 Brand Pike is Dayton's biggest, and we've been in business since 1963. Come out and see why.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Back to the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Yes, I am a Browns fan and a Cowboys fan.
Kinner Bowl.
We got the Justin Kinner Bowl coming up this week. Now, I was all ready to put a lot on this line and say that I would give my allegiance to one team only. But look, there's no fans in the Kinner Bowl with a lot on the line. We're going to push those stakes off to another season when they play.
Oh
again.
my goodness, he's backing out.
I mean, maybe I haven't decided.
Ron, do you hear that? He backed out.
Right. I want, Plus, I wanted the game in Cleveland, so I can go to the game in Cleveland. Hell, the Cowboys are playing at Cincinnati this year. I'm trying to figure out if I want to catch the COVID and go down and watch it. It might be worth it. Cowboys, man. It's been a roller coaster of a season. It's only 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. It has been a very eventful NFL season already. We are 3 weeks in, and a lot of trends are starting to kind of form a little bit. Some patterns are starting to form, and that's the fun part about this. Week 1 of the NFL season is always great because it's your first taste of it. It's back. Week 2, you don't know whether to get, overly excited about your team or get too down on your team. But week 3, that's about where you start really, forming a lot of your opinions and your gut starting to form a lot of really, big thoughts on your teams and some of the, other teams around the league. Let's talk some NFL. We have ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz joining us. Jason, welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. And look, I just heard what you were saying about not getting to go to the games. Like, this is a first world complaint. I will admit that. But, my beloved Raiders this year, first game ever in Vegas on Monday Night Football. I worked for ESPN. I could have easily gotten a pass from the guys to go to that game the week after playing in New England. That's only about an hour from Bristol, where I spend most of my time. That game was easy. They were playing the Jets in New York. That game was easy. And Thanksgiving weekend playing in Atlanta. And, my wife and family's all in Nashville. I split my time between the two cities. That's a pretty easy hop from Nashville to Atlanta. I had a plan to get to 4 Raiders games this year, and now the answer is 0. So I am still very hurt about it.
Absolutely. The Justin Kinner Bowl is supposed to be, I have to pick my allegiance between the Browns and the Cowboys this week, but I wanted to go to the game. We can't go to the game. So now I don't know. I'm chickening out. I don't really want to just pick one team. I enjoy having more than one team. Jason, you have your team A, that's the Raiders. Who's your team B?
No, there's no such thing. I mean, there is no.
Not even the Titans, huh? Living in Nashville?
No. I mean, 20 years in Nashville, Taylor Lewan's a buddy, and the number of times that he's texted me and been like, when are you going to root for us? I'm like, when you play for the Raiders. Like, when us is you in Vegas, I will root for you all day. Like, Will Compton played for the Raiders, now plays for the Titans. I hit him up last week, and I was like, hey, man, whenever you have a time, send me a jersey, but I want one of the Raiders jerseys. I don't want that trash for the Titans stuff on my wall. No. I'm a one-team man through and through.
Loyalty is key. It is key. It's a trait that I wish I had, apparently, as far as that. Plus, if they had a different quarterback than Ryan Tannehill, it might be a little bit easier to jump on that banner. We have a lot of Titans. For some reason, we have a lot of Titans fans in this area, and they jump on me every time I take a shot at the Titans. So I had to get my dig in. Hey, let's look at this week, week 3 of the NFL season. It wrapped up last night. It was supposed to be, the biggest game of the season, right? You had the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, MVP, going up against Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP from last year, and the Chiefs. It didn't live up to the hype, but it's not, it's because that's how good Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are. What are some of your takeaways from that? Because that really was a dud last night, but that speaks to just how good this Chiefs team is with Patrick Mahomes, obviously.
Well, and I got to keep stressing what you just said, because I still believe the Ravens are the second best team in the AFC. So that shows us how large the gap is between the best and the second best team in the AFC. But what we saw last night was, there was so much concern that the Chargers had given some sort of a blueprint out of the 49ers on how to attack the Chiefs. And look, fine, if you've got an epic defensive line that can get pressure, and maybe you've got great corners that are playing out of their minds, maybe you can do something. But what we saw last night was Patrick Mahomes continuing to invent great plays, and we saw that they were obviously intent in getting Tyreek Hill more involved in the offense as well. So, I look at the Chiefs, and I just think that they're going to put together the type of season this year that we'll be telling our grandkids about. And that's, it's hard for me to admit that as a Raiders fan. I think this is going to be a generational season for Kansas City, and last night was an indication of it. They're clearly the best team in the NFL. So, that's the big takeaway from that. On the other side of it, we have to remember that the Ravens have spent a lot of time building an offense around Lamar Jackson for Lamar Jackson's strengths. And part of that is we're going to do some different things. We're going to do some different big formations. We're going to run a lot. We're going to set things up a particular way. Well, when you're down by 2 touchdowns, you can't just suddenly spread out and change who you are. So I don't put as much of Lamar Jackson's poor performance when they were down big on Lamar, as it's just not the way the offense is built to run. And that's going to be something that the Ravens are going to have to look at if they're facing deficits anywhere else this season.
Now, you talk about Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, and I brought up yesterday that Baker Mayfield is a game manager, and the Browns fans attacked me, and particularly
Hold me back.
Particularly this one Browns fan that I co-host this show with. Is the term game manager a bad term?
No, I don't think it's a bad term. I mean, I think game managers can win Super Bowls, honestly. Like, it's a matter of, can you execute the offense? Do you believe that your coach is brilliant at his job? If you believe your coach is brilliant at his job offensively, and you've got a game manager as a quarterback, you're going to be just fine. You know, the question is how good is the game plan he's managing? Now, this is a terrible radio take, but I die on this all the time. If you want to really know who you have at quarterback, you need 3 years to find out. Year one, you get a bit of a sample size. Everybody adjusts to it. Year two, you see how a quarterback performs against those adjustments. Year three, it normalizes. So the version of Baker that we're getting this year, I think, is probably a pretty normalized version of what to expect moving forward. And, you know, Baker's good, not great, you know, and that's okay. You can win a lot of games with a quarterback that's good, not great. The problem is everybody's enamored with this concept of finding their Patrick Mahomes, and like, that just doesn't exist. Their Russell Wilson, like, that just doesn't exist for most of the league. So, you know, Baker's he's good. He's good enough to win a bunch of games, but I wouldn't turn around. I don't think every NFL franchise would bow down for the opportunity right now to add Baker Mayfield, thinking he makes them great.
Well, they can't have him because he's Cleveland. So there you go. No, we got into that conversation yesterday because I was saying I think he's going to be a game manager this year. If the Browns are going to continue to view him as a game manager moving forward, yes, you can win with them. Alex Smith to me is the ultimate game manager that you can win a lot of games with, but it obviously took Patrick Mahomes to take the Chiefs to that next level. If the Browns only view Baker as a game manager, then they're always going to be having in the back of their head, who else could we get out there that's going to take us to that next level? So that's why him and I got into that argument yesterday about, I think it's a bad thing to be labeled that, because if you are labeled as a game manager, you are not labeled as the franchise quarterback. And I think that's what Browns fans were hoping they got with Baker Mayfield.
And that's a fair point. You know, I'll ask you the same question. I got asked sort of a gut punch question a couple of nights ago. Monday Night Football. It was last night. So before the game, I was talking to a couple of our analysts from ESPN. And I went to him as a Raiders fan, and I said, give me the real on Derek Carr, because sometimes he's great and sometimes he's awful, and I can't figure out who he is. And one of our analysts looked at me and said, let me ask you something. When they were down by 2 touchdowns, do you think Bill Belichick or any of the coaches for New England were standing on the sideline saying, wait, guys, they've got Derek Carr. That lead's not safe. And it hit me. It's like, no. And that's something I would challenge everybody to ask about their quarterback. I mean, do you believe that if you're a Browns fan and you're down by 14 points with 5 minutes left, do you believe that the opposing team is looking around and saying, oh my God, we've got to get first downs because they've got Baker and Baker can win this game for them? I mean, I don't think we've seen enough of Baker doing that to really feel it. I'm not saying that's out of the question for him, but he's got more to prove before he gets to that level of status, and that is a franchise quarterback.
Now, when you say that, I mean, I agree with you, except if it's the Atlanta Falcons asking that question, yes, they truly believe that the Raiders can come back. They believe anybody can come back. I think that's where we're at with that. Last thing is we let you go. And ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz, you can hear ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz weeknights from 7 to 9 p.m. right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, one half of Spain and Fitz. And I want to ask you about the Cincinnati Bengals, because yesterday I said that there's a stat about the Bengals and Joe Burrow that really alarms me. And right away everyone said, oh, it's the amount of times he's been hit. It's the amount of sacks. 14 times he's been sacked. It's the most in the NFL. And I said, actually, the sacks are very concerning, but that's not the number that I'm looking at that's really concerning. The amount of the numbers that I'm looking at that really concern me are the amount of times he's thrown the ball. He's the second in the National Football League in total passes thrown. And the reason I think that's a problem is he keeps getting hit because every time he drops back, he has a horrible offensive line. Do you believe that Zach Taylor and the Bengals have a responsibility in maybe limiting how much they, allow him to throw the ball? Because every time he drops back, he's vulnerable and he is getting not just hit, but hit hard.
Yeah, 1,000%. You're absolutely right. And, I was sitting on the couch watching the Browns-Bengals game on Thursday night a couple of weeks ago with Mike Golick Jr. And when we reached the spot where Burrow was on pass number 60 for that game, Mike looked over at me and said, man, this is irresponsible. And that's the way it feels. They have the weapons. I know they don't have the offensive line, but in theory, they have the weapons to give themselves more ability to find a more rounded offense. And that's where Zach Taylor has to improve right now. I mean, he has to improve as an offensive signal caller, as a play caller, as somebody that can get there and put his quarterback in the right position. They've got to find a way to balance that offense out. Otherwise, they are hanging him out to dry just to get absolutely cremated every time he touches the ball. And I also would challenge that, they've got to find a more creative way like they did at LSU. And I know they're working some of those concepts in. They got to find a creative way to get the ball out of his hand more quickly in general, because he is getting just pounded. And the offensive line is bad. The organization has to figure out how to better evaluate talent at the offensive line. But in the meantime, you can't get your quarterback killed, and that's what they're doing.
Last one for me is Drew Brees done.
That's simple.
You say it, and I feel gross with the concept of it, but I kind of think so. And this is reminiscent of any fan base that you remember that day when you were sitting there watching one of your favorite quarterbacks, and all of a sudden they just look different. Everybody's gone through it where you look at that quarterback and it's like, man, I don't know what changed this year, but they hit a wall. And that it is true. I can't believe I'm saying it, and I don't want to bet against Drew Brees because I believe in him so much. But, man, he has just not looked good. And the ball just sort of floats out ugly, and we're not used to seeing it. So, yeah, I'm concerned. I think that's a real concern this year, and I can't believe I'm saying it. But if he's done, too, things are going to fall off the wheels quickly for the Saints this year.
I do have a follow-up. So just say, for instance, he is done and they actually do something that so hard to move on from a Hall of Fame quarterback like a Drew Brees, and they pull him. Are they really going to put Taysom Hill in, or are they going to put in the turnover machine, my guy, Jameis?
ESPN's 30 for 30.
Oh, man. You know what? Pride is the downfall of man. I think they're going to put in Taysom because at this point, Sean Payton is so dug in on that I think they're at least going to give Taysom a shot. But don't sleep on Jameis. I mean, as has been pointed out by a couple people smartly, Teddy Bridgewater's value got escalated, even though he's just Teddy Bridgewater, got escalated to obscene levels for Teddy Bridgewater just because he was around the Saints organization. I think the same can happen for Jameis. And while we mock the 30 interceptions, let's at least acknowledge the 30 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. So he can play. It's just, can he get smart? And I think he's going to have an opportunity, but I think they're going to try Taysom Hill first.
All right, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz from Spain and Fitz, 7 to 9 weeknights right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Going to hang out with us every Tuesday throughout the NFL season. Jason, thanks so much for your time. Always fun.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.
You too. Right. Take care. All right, good stuff there again. Every Tuesday, he'll be hanging out with us at 4:30, and he agreed with me. And Mike Gola Jr. agreed with me.
And he also agreed with me about the game manager thing.
That's fine, but mine was more important.
And he also agreed with me about Drew Brees being done.
Listen, we got a clock. We got to get out of here. We got a commercial break to get to. I'm tired of always getting yelled at because Kev's always going to break late.
So that would be 2 to 1. Me.
Oh, I'm late to the party. We're getting some notes coming. We're going to get to the Facebook responses coming out, but I was being serious about that Bengals question. I do think that it is borderline irresponsible of Zach Taylor to continue to allow Burrow to throw the ball that many times. I really do. Not because of his arm, well, just because of his head, shoulders, knees and toes, everything. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Got a project to do? Use the right equipment and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. With over 50 years experience, Arts has the best selection, delivery, and service, plus 14 Arts locations. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro Painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I've had CertaPro Painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro Painters knows how to get the job done right, and most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time, they get the job done right and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro Painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
I am attorney David Brannon, and I'm running for Montgomery County Probate Court Judge on November 3rd. Over the past 15 years, I have worked hard to protect those in need and to get the right answers for families in probate court. I am also certified by the Ohio State Bar Association as an expert in probate law. I have several plans to improve court services to this community. First, I want to allow a law clinic under the roof of the probate court to provide better access for families needing help. I also want to streamline the filing process to improve efficiency and fairness. Please vote for me, David Brannon, November 3rd. I am David Brannon, and I approve this message.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Cordell Transportation is hiring Class A CDL drivers 23 and over, less than 6 points on their license, for no-touch freight home daily lanes. Outstanding new equipment. Earn up to $270 per day. $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, and paid life insurance. Apply at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
With so many new pet owners, Kezia's Grooming can't keep up.
Kezia's Grooming. Sorry, we'll book solid through the weekend. I can give you a call back, though, if something opens up.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Contractors, use the right equipment for your project and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. No storage, no maintenance, no hassle. 14 Arts locations and online at artsrental.com. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz, he just joined us. That interview will be up at wingam.com. Also, make sure that you are subscribing and downloading the Justin Kinner Show podcast with Kev Nash in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store. The second that the show is done, it is automatically uploaded. And again, it's right there on your phone. You can go back and listen to it. All shows in their entirety, as well as select segments and all interviews are available for you there. Also, head to wingam.com, click on the Watch ESPN Dayton tab, and you can go back and watch all previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. There you will also find cutout video versions of the show and select segments, full interviews, full shows, everything. Again, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash playlist is right there in the Watch ESPN Dayton tab. You can also watch the Keith Byers Show, Mondays from noon to 1. The Keith Byers Show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. All right, we have a few minutes here as we close out the first hour. When we get to the top of the 5 o'clock hour, Kev Nash and I will give you our top 5, bottom 5 NFL teams after week 3 is officially wrapped up. Last night, again, the Chiefs just dominating the Ravens, and I was expecting a much closer matchup than that. I heard the morning show today with Jay Will, Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Zubin talking about, is Lamar and Mahomes the new Brady and Manning? And I said, I don't think we're there yet because the gap between Brady and Peyton Manning was so thin. And I'm worried after last night that the gap between Lamar and Patrick maybe not be there. But again, I don't want to say that we're overreacting to one game, but I do believe last night, it's a pattern starting to form. Lamar doesn't win big games. He wins a lot of games, but he's really good. I don't think the narrative is full-blown yet, Kev, but I do believe that we are very close to the narrative being the way that narratives get formed in the NBA. Is Lamar Jackson close to being the James Harden of the NFL? And both have MVPs, both are high-volume stat stuffers, but can the big one be one with them rocking it? You know what I mean? Like, that's not a shot at Lamar. It's not even a shot at James Harden. James Harden, whether people want to admit it or not, statistically one of the best of all time. You can't deny that. You can't deny it. But I don't think anyone looks at James Harden and thinks you could build a championship team around him. I think the doubt's starting to creep in now. And I think Lamar's not there yet. But, Kev, if we go another year where they win 12, 13 games and get ousted in the first round of the playoffs, now all of a sudden we have our James Harden of the NFL.
That's tough. That's a tough one. For me, I just look at it as, and I've always said things like this. Lamar and Patrick aren't playing against each other. They're not matching up. They're matching up against each other's defense. And I was shocked at the way that he was able to carve up the Ravens defense like that. They weren't getting any pressure. And when they did get pressure, he got the ball out so fast. And some of these play calls that Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid are coming up with, like, they're coming out there throwing to the offensive tackle, shovel passes to the fullback. Normally you see a shovel pass to a running back or a shovel pass to a wide receiver that's coming around or whatever. They're drawing up plays like the little Giants out there, man. Like the
annexation of Puerto Rico.
Facts. That's what they're out there doing, man. And they're like two mad scientists out there. And we knew that. We knew that was going to happen. We know how explosive the offense is. They're getting the ball not only to Tyreek Hill and to Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce and Clyde Helaire, but they're also starting to use Mecole Hardman from Georgia. So the amount of weapons that they have is scary. But the scariest part is the defense. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. Maybe it's not what you expect from them, but Frank Clark from Michigan, by way of Cleveland, Ohio, he's getting pressure constantly. He's always in the backfield, be it running plays, be it pass plays. Like, Lamar got yards and danced around and tried to extend plays, but his hustle was there. And then not only that, your tight end dropped one touchdown pass for sure. He dropped one touchdown pass. He dropped a critical third down pass in the first quarter. So all those plays start mounting up. And when you're playing up against an offense like that, just like the fastest show on turf with the Rams back in the day, if you don't score, if you're not keeping pace, at least they're going to pull away from you. And that's exactly what happened to them last night. You know, that the Ravens mounted a little comeback because I actually turned it off and started watching something else for a hot second. And then when I turned it back on, they scored a touchdown to cut it to 27-20. I was like, okay, we got a game here. And KC went right back down the field and made it 14. So when a team can basically score at will, and not only score at will so fast and so efficiently, the pressure that is putting on the other team's offense to keep pace, I think that forces them to press. And like when you don't convert those third downs and you got to give it right back to them, you're in a world of hurt. You're in a world of trouble, man. That team is scary. Now, I don't think they're going to go 16-0 or anything like that. But, you know, if any team could do it, this might be the team to do it. This is scary good. I was blown away how they carved up the Ravens defense.
Here's the deal. Harbaugh's job is on the line. And I think here's my guesstimation for next year. A year and a half ago, Harbaugh was announced to be stepping away from the team after the season.
Yes.
That was a respectful parting of ways. You know, rather than ultimately firing him, it was a way to make it look like it was a mutual split. They have the quarterback change, Joe Flacco out, Lamar Jackson comes in. They just win a string of games towards the end. No one gave the Ravens a shot. And the next thing you know, boom, the Ravens are on the what the hell was that? Sorry, that scared the crap out of me.
What is that?
I think it's a computer about to blow up. Literally, everyone watching just saw me about crap my pants on that was terrifying, whatever the heck that just was. Something about just exploded in the studio. So Lamar Jackson and the Ravens win a string of games. Okay. They take off. And it saved his job. All of a sudden, you didn't hear about them parting ways at the end. Come back the next year, they win the division. Lamar wins MVP. Mm-hmm. But there's 2 straight years where they've been ousted in the first round. 2 straight years where they don't look like they do in the regular season. If that happens again, that's 3 straight years with Harbaugh being the coach. And Lamar's too good for them to move on from Lamar. You're going to have to move on from Harbaugh. And you just talked about the rival, or we were talking about the potential rivalry between the Chiefs and Ravens. You know how you create a rivalry? You go pull someone from that side. There's a certain coach that we've been waiting to get a job in the National Football League. And if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I'm knocking on Bieniemy's door yesterday saying, hey, I wanted to hire you this moment, but we want to be the first in line. And by the way, if the Baltimore Ravens do look to hire Bieniemy, there's not a team out there that is sexier than the Baltimore Ravens. Can you imagine a Bieniemy offense with Lamar Jackson? Then can you imagine the rivalry between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes? That's all I'm saying. Keep an eye on that. Now, the Ravens have some winnable games moving forward. They have a lot of winnable games moving forward. They still have, another one with the Browns. They're going to trounce the Browns. They have the Bengals twice. They're going to trounce the Bengals twice. We're really going to learn who they are against the Steelers, a divisional opponent who's sitting at the top. That's my prediction. It's not that Harbaugh's not a good coach. It's that Harbaugh's leash was already coming up short anyways. You extended the leash, and now you had 3 years of Harbaugh and Lamar where, okay, the patterns developing of Lamar maybe not being able to win the big one with Harbaugh, but if Bieniemy opens up that offense and they're not so predictable offensively, that could be a thing. All I'm saying is look out. If I had to predict where Bieniemy ends up next year, it's not going to be the Falcons. It won't be the Titans or anywhere else. Not that the Titans were looking for a coach, but I'm just saying I do believe that the Ravens, who no one's talking about it now, but I do believe that. And, when I do have a great observation, Dean McDonald says, great observation, Kinner. I think it's pretty good. And for once, I think I got you. I got you.
I will admit, that's not a bad take. That's not a bad take.
The show's done, folks. We're calling it a night. I work hard to get that reaction right there. Dean McDonald, I'm not ignoring you either. He has a Reds question that we're going to get to in hour number 3 as well. And my dad says you had an OBJ moment. I look like looks like
diaper action.
Hour 3 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter makes it fast and easy. We talked to Monica Starks, who needed to hire for her company, GS Group.
As the owner of a construction company, finding the right people is a very difficult task. So I use ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter finds the right people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
With ZipRecruiter, we've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists.
And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Before Olay, having dry skin was a struggle. Turns out my old body wash was the problem. New Olay skincare inspired body wash with vitamin C, collagen, and hyaluronic acid improves skin 3 times better versus the leading body wash after 14 days, based on clinical moisture retention. And now helps stop dry skin before it starts with new Olay Rinse Off Body Conditioner. Find new Olay skincare inspired body wash at your local Target.
And now a game of commercial chicken brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Hi. Guess we should talk about something. How's the vermicelli game in your town? Got any good Vietnamese restaurants? Vermicelli? Oh, it's a noodle. Very good. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you're driving less, you could be saving more on car insurance. Save money with pay-per-mile insurance from Allstate. Call a local Allstate agent and get a quote.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Tuesday, and the week already rolling along. Week 4 of the NFL season kicks off on Thursday. Tomorrow's show, of course, will focus a lot on the Cincinnati Reds, hopefully talking about a Game 1 win over the Braves. Trevor Bauer on the mound. Noon will be the first pitch, a 12 p.m. first pitch tomorrow. Game 1 of the National League Wildcard Series between the Braves and Reds. Trevor Bauer on the mound. Hopefully we're talking about a 1-0 series lead for your Cincinnati Reds. On Thursday, hopefully we're talking about the Cincinnati Reds sweeping the series. Maybe. Who knows? We'll talk some baseball coming up here in just a moment. I have a couple Reds questions in the Facebook feed that we'll get into. Just a reminder that every time you leave a comment in the chat section, we will respond to it. We will interact with it. Just give us time. We got to go through and sift through them. But again, we'll be able to pull your Facebook profile picture with your comment into the broadcast. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Listen, stream, and now watch the Justin Kinner Show weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Listen at 1410 Wing AM. Stream at wingam.com. And now watch us live on Facebook on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash Facebook page and on the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to. And I highly encourage you to do that right now. All right. So we were talking about, of course, the Chiefs and the Ravens game last night. And I need to go back to my really, really great, awesome point that I don't have many often. No, but we're talking about the Ravens, is the Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson the new Tom Brady and, Peyton Manning? And I don't think so yet. It had that feel to start. But again, people keep talking about that kryptonite, that the Chiefs are the Ravens' kryptonite. Well, let's be real here. The Chiefs have been so dominant since Patrick Mahomes arrived and under the, in that offense with Andy Reid, that to me, it's a situation where they're everyone's kryptonite. Mm-hmm. They're just that good. This might be one of the best NFL teams we've seen in a while. Now, there's two different kinds of good. There's that New England Patriots good. You know what I mean? Like kind of like in the NBA, there's that San Antonio Spurs good. Maybe not right now, but you never once looked at those Spurs teams, Kevin, and thought, oh man, that's the team that you want to avoid. you wanted to avoid them, but you never circled them. You were always focused on the Golden State Warriors, like the flashier teams, right? And the Golden State Warriors dynasty never really overlapped
Lakers,
with the Lakers,
team, the team that everybody talks about,
And that's kind of like who the Chiefs are, except the difference between the Chiefs and those like the Phoenix Suns in the early 2000s or the mid 2000s, right? When you had the Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire and you had those guys, like that was the team that, man, they were like the Phoenix, they were like the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They were so explosive. And, the guy running the floor that was just literally, they looked different than everybody else. The Chiefs look different than everybody else, but the Chiefs are scarier because they look different than anybody else, but they don't really have a weakness that you can say that's why they're not going to win a Super Bowl. The reason people say that they're not going to win a Super Bowl this year is because it's difficult to repeat winning Super Bowls. It's not because of team weaknesses, right? Like you look at New England, you look at a lot of these other dynasty type teams, and it's like there's a lot of flaws. The Ravens have two glaring flaws, and one of them is they cannot come from behind. They have yet to be able to prove that they can come from behind and win. They need a few games with the Falcons to maybe get some confidence under their belt a little bit, right? So that's the thing. I don't know if moving forward I'm going to get all butterflies in my stomach watching Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson until we start seeing the Ravens get some big wins over big teams. That's why I think Pittsburgh's so important. We watched Baltimore dominate last year, Kevin, but we never saw them beat that team. Hell, they even lost to Cleveland once. But when they did beat Pittsburgh, Kevin, it wasn't Pittsburgh. It wasn't Blitzburg. It's Blitzburg this year. The offense is pretty good for Pittsburgh. So when they start getting some wins over Pittsburgh, I will start buying in more, but the Ravens are not my Super Bowl. I don't even anticipate a rematch between the Ravens and the Chiefs and the AFC title game until I see what they can do against the Steelers. That's kind of where I'm at on that.
Another reason why that game was so big was this year, only the number one seed gets to bye in the playoffs. So, if the Ravens are as good as everybody thinks they are, they're going to be the number 2 team, but they'll still be playing opening week. So that's something to think about. Also, Kansas City is one of the few teams in the NFL who allows fans into their stadium. So I got a leg up on everybody, So the AFC Championship is going to have to go through Kansas City right now. So that's one thing. But you look at the matchup, between the Chiefs and the Ravens, it's the fact that they can't get ahead and use that power running game and use those play action fakes to take those deep shots. And when you are taking those seam shots with the tight end, he's dropping the ball. Like, I know you as a Browns fan would wish he would have dropped some of those passes against the Browns, but I don't know. Like, he dropped passes against the Titans in the playoffs last year, too. So it's not only Lamar having bad games. His weapons are letting him down. His defense is letting him down. And I mean,
where was that energy with Baker Mayfield last year? But keep going.
I'm all over. That's all I do.
It's true.
That's all
and then I get mad because you make fun of him. So just forget the Browns. Keep going. Talk about the Ravens.
So, obviously, Lamar having a bad game is the standout point. But the defense being carved up, for me personally, is the number one thing. Because when you think about the Baltimore Ravens, you think about defense. The first person that comes to mind when you say the Ravens is Ray Lewis. Second person, Ed Reed. Like, third person, Terrell Suggs. Those are the names that come to mind when you talk about the Ravens. It's a while before you talk about an offensive player.
Yeah, the most popular offensive player, and I'm not being funny here, Ray Rice, just because of the news coverage he got for all the wrong reasons. You don't think offense when you think Baltimore.
Right.
But that's why earlier when we talked about, Bieniemy, I do believe this would be year 3 if the Ravens don't get it done this year with Harbaugh. And stop me if you've heard this one before. Harbaugh's job should be on the line. Harbaugh's a great coach, by the way. And if they did move on from him, it's not as if he's a terrible coach. He would be picked up very quickly, and he should be picked up very quickly. My point, though, is that, and by the way, the Bengals would be a great landing spot for Harbaugh. Oh, I'm just going to keep connecting the pieces here. This is what's going to happen. Hear me out.
See, you give him an inch, he takes a mile.
Oh, yeah. So the Cincinnati Bengals are going to fire that 12-year-old that they have running the team, who's won, 16-1 now, or 2 16-1. They need to move on from him because he's about to get Joe Burrow killed. He's about to end Joe Burrow's career. So they're going to need a coach over in Cincinnati, and I think that the perfect coach in Cincinnati is definitely going to be Harbaugh for that situation. So then
the Ravens need a coach. That's where you bring in Bieniemy. Can you imagine what Bieniemy could do with that offense with Lamar Jackson running everything? That will be unreal. That's what I think is going to unfold. We had ESPN's Jason Fitz on with us just a little bit ago, and we were talking about that very same thing with the Bengals. And I will say this, Kevin, we talked about the what would you call Baker, the game manager.
Yes.
So you were right on that, but I got told I was right about the usage of Joe Burrow. I think that the Bengals are totally being irresponsible with how they are handling Joe Burrow. I think that Joe Burrow has no business being second in the league in total passes, especially when the number one concern we have is how much he keeps getting hit. Well, you may not be able to protect him because you can't just make that offensive line better overnight. But what you can do is limit how much he has the chances of getting hit by limiting how much he throws. Doesn't mean you'd never throw the ball, but you also will not convince me that it's okay to throw the ball 141 times in the season where he's been hit 14, which is way more than anybody else. So that's where we had that conversation earlier. But here's the deal. Zach Taylor is not worried about Joe Burrow. Zach Taylor knows that if he protects Joe Burrow and doesn't throw the ball, that Zach Taylor is going to be gone anyways. Zach Taylor right now is trying to throw the ball a lot to spot the offensive line because Zach Taylor cares about one thing and one thing only. It's not about Joe Burrow. Zach Taylor's not going to protect Joe Burrow just so Zach Taylor could be fired. Zach Taylor keeps calling the plays for Joe Burrow to throw the ball because Zach Taylor's trying to win as many games as he can to keep his job. But you're not going to win games with this group right now. And it's not because Joe Burrow's not good. It's not because A.J. Green's not A.J. Green. It's because of that offensive line. I think this team could win even with the very average A.J. Green. That's how good this offense has the potential of being if they had an offensive line. But Zach Taylor is being very reckless with Joe Burrow. And I wish Bengals fans, if anyone else was saying this, I think you would hear it different. But because it's me, you think I'm taking a shot at them. I'm not. The bottom line is that I think that it is totally reckless of Zach Taylor to be playing Joe Burrow the way he is. He's going to get him killed. And I don't think he cares because Zach Taylor knows I'm 2-16-1. I'm not keeping this job anyway. I'm not going to try and protect Joe Burrow. I need to win some games to at least make my resume look better for if I ever want to coach again. He doesn't care about the future of Joe Burrow, not one little tiny bit.
You act like he's out here running QB power. You act like he's running, looking like Ohio State offense with JT where he's running the ball 25 times. He's not. The best way for them to win is to get the ball into their playmakers' hands, and their best playmakers are wide receivers because they are so deep at the wide receiver position. They're 5 deep. They got 5 very talented wide receivers, and how you get them the ball is passing the ball. Do they need to protect Joe better? Absolutely. Yep. Does Joe need to get the ball out of his hands faster? Absolutely. So it's a give and take. It can't all be just like all on the coach. Joe got to get the ball out of his hands faster, and he's also got to hit that deep ball when it's there. He missed one against the Browns. He missed one against Philly. He's now 0 for 6 on deep passes. So hit those passes.
Not that simple when you're running for your life and you're a rookie.
No.
Yeah,
He was
not that simple.
He would the one against the Browns, clean pocket. The one against Philly, clean pocket. He missed the pass.
So, with that being said, you're right. To win games. Is winning 4 to 5 worth it if it means you have risk an injury to your quarterback that could be out for next season? Because winning long term is very important, not just winning this season. Is winning 5 or 6 games so important this year at the risk of losing Joe Burrow for the rest of this year, maybe a career-ending injury? I'm being so dramatic, but hey, it's 2020. We're all being dramatic. So, it is what it is at this point. So, again, I would be saying this about any quarterback and any team out there. I was even saying this. I thought that, it was the opposite. I thought Harbaugh was being reckless with Lamar his rookie year, just basically saying, hey, we don't have very good of an offense right now. Just run. And he was just letting him run. And what were we doing at that time? We were doing the running quarterback thing don't work. It's kind of funny how now that's why I believe if there's a slight chance that Justin Fields could be drafted ahead of Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be what Justin Fields could do making plays with his feet, even though Trevor Lawrence did run for 100 yards on Ohio State's great defense last year. But anyways, that's besides the point. It's besides the point. My point is I thought it was reckless the way the Ravens handled Lamar Jackson 2 years ago, and I think it's reckless what the Bengals are doing now. Yes, you got to throw the ball to win. But there comes a point where every time you drop him back, you really need to throw the ball 140 times. A lot of other teams are finding out ways to throw the ball a lot and win games. I don't know. I'm just saying it's reckless. It just is reckless to me.
I got nothing, man.
Hey, Mike Golick Jr. agreed with me. Jason Fitz agreed with me.
Okay.
I heard from Bobby Carpenter earlier. He agrees with me.
Did he?
That's all I need. Yes. That's all I need.
What Carp say?
He said, about Joe Burrow, he's throwing the ball way too much. That until they protect him, they need to stop putting him back, especially in that shotgun formation too, where teams are just getting a blitz line on him. Put him under center a little bit. Not their offense. It's not who Zach Taylor is, so it doesn't make sense. But there's really no way for this to make sense other than for Joe Burrow to get hurt. The best thing that can happen to Joe Burrow is a slight hamstring tweak that puts him out for a couple weeks. That's the best chance he has of being protected. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious. He is going to have, a Joe Theismann moment. He is going to be destroyed if he keeps up at this pace. I don't care how tough he is. That cigar smoking thing, I want to see that in week 5 on the sideline, just relaxing. Down 28-0, and him just there with the cigar saying, I get to keep playing moving forward, man. Get him out of there. Get him out of there.
So start tanking already, huh?
Them trying to win looks like tanking too. So,
oh my goodness, they did tie this week.
You know what they should do? When they end up with one of the worst records, they should draft Trevor Lawrence as well. That way, whenever Zach Taylor gets Joe Burrow just obliterated, they at least have a good backup quarterback ready to go as far as that. All right, let's do a little top 5, bottom 5 teams in the NFL. Who are your top teams in the NFL? Your top 5. Who's your bottom 5 in the NFL? That's the music, and that's what we're going to pick up with on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. When we come back, Doug Sphere on YouTube. I'm going to get to your comments. He has a couple things on Andy Reid and Joe Mixon. Ron Moreland, I see your message as well. Doug Morgan, Facebook, YouTube reaction when we come back, plus our top 5, bottom 5. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy with a high near 65. Tonight will also be partly cloudy with a low around 47. And tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy and windy with a slight chance of showers, a high near 68. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome to another Fantastic Four golf hole experience with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys.
We're in Greenville, Ohio today playing beautiful Turtle Creek Golf Club. This course was recently rated the 4th best public golf course in the state of Ohio. I'm standing on the tee at the 5th hole. This par 4, it's considered the toughest hole on the front 9, and I can definitely see why after looking around. There are trees all around you, and you have to reach an elevated fairway with your drive, or it's impossible to even see the green. I find the rough off the tee and have to punch out with my next shot. My third shot gets me up the fairway in position to reach the green. Laying 3, I finally hit a good shot and land 6 feet from the hole and putt in. Listen, I'll take a bogey on this hole absolutely any day of the week. If you are looking for great golf courses to play around the Miami Valley, you have to go play this course. Get your pals together, book a tee time, and come out and play Turtle Creek. Stay tuned for more Fantastic Four golf hole experiences. See you at the next hole.
Visit buygolfforhalf.com for half-price golf packages from Turtle Creek and other great local golf courses around the Miami Valley.
Before Olay, having dry skin was a struggle. Turns out my old body wash was the problem. New Olay skincare inspired body wash with vitamin C, collagen, and hyaluronic acid improves skin 3 times better versus the leading body wash after 14 days, based on clinical moisture retention. And now helps stop dry skin before it starts with new Olay Rinse Off Body Conditioner. Find new Olay skincare inspired body wash at your local Target.
And now a game of commercial chicken brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Hi. Guess we should talk about something. How's the vermicelli game in your town? Got any good Vietnamese restaurants? Vermicelli? Oh, it's a noodle. Very good. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
O'Reilly Auto Parts has what you need to keep your engine performing at its best. Our professional parts people will help you select just the right products for your car and budget, like 5 quarts of Castrol GTX conventional or high mileage motor oil and a MicroGuard filter, just $28.99. Plus earn double O rewards points. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Welcome to another Fantastic Four golf hole experience with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys.
Me and the boys are in Springfield, Ohio today. We're playing Windy Knoll, an extremely well-maintained course known as Central Ohio's premier link-style golf course. We're getting ready to tee off at the 9th hole. It's a par 5 and the longest hole on the course. They say you can get on the green in 2 with the wind at your back, but I'll feel good if I could just stay in the fairway and avoid the dangerous mounds on my right. I'm off the tee in good shape, but my second shot drifts left toward the water. I land short, and it takes 2 shots for me to get up in front of the green. This is a big green, and I need 3 putts to get in for a double bogey. Not my best hole, but definitely one of my favorite golf courses. If you're looking for a unique and truly enjoyable golf experience, you have to come out and play Windy Knoll. Stay tuned for more Fantastic Four golf hole experiences with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys. See you at the next hole.
Visit buygolfforhalf.com for half-price golf packages from Windy Knoll and other great local golf courses around the Miami Valley.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. The Army National Guard responds to disasters such as wildfires and floods. They protect us with missile defense, cybersecurity, and civilian support teams for chemical, biological, and radiological hazards. Be there for your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Are you experiencing financial hardship and finding yourself pressured of owing the IRS back taxes? The experienced professionals at Allied Tax Relief can relieve you from IRS collections. Most importantly, negotiate your tax debt. Here's Marie, a pleased client of Allied Tax Relief.
My hours were cut in half at work, and the IRS was threatening to collect $27,000 I owed them. I contacted Allied Tax Relief for help. They were able to put a stop to the IRS collections. Once they negotiated my debt, I walked away paying only $700 to the IRS.
Especially during these times of need, Allied Tax Relief is able to negotiate various Fresh Start programs to relieve you of your IRS tax debt. Call Allied Tax Relief now, 800-299-2006 for a free consultation. Use this pandemic situation to your advantage. Now is the best time to get IRS forgiveness. Call today, 800-299-2006. This call could save you thousands. That's 800-299-2006, 800-299-2006.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens, and all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kenner for Justin Kenner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
So Notre Dame football, their game against Wake Forest postponed this past week. They don't play this weekend. In fact, they don't play again, Kevin, until Florida State on October 10th.
They're not playing then either.
On October 10th.
They ain't going to have to play then either. The way my nose look, Woo! Gonna be a nice, easy walk in the park.
Well, right now, the only opponent that Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, are facing is COVID. So they faced COVID last week, facing COVID again this week, and they will have Florida State coming up here in a few weeks. But I thought that was interesting as far as that is concerned. All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Tuesday. We are live on Facebook. Go to Facebook and search The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Follow along, and every time you comment in the chat section, we are able to pull it into the show. Your little profile picture will be displayed, and your comment as well, so you can interact with us that way. Doug Morgan on Facebook says Baker is not a manager. He's more like a server, serving interceptions on the regular. Well, make sure you tip him well. Dwayne Haskins was quite the server this past weekend. Holy smokes. Ooh. That was ugly. All right, on YouTube, because you can follow along live on Facebook. You can watch us live on YouTube as well. Doug Sphere on YouTube says, Andy Reid was really good in Philly with McNabb, but he's even better with Mahomes. This is the shift from the AFC East to KC dominance right now, as far as that's concerned. I mean, absolutely. I mean, right now, you talked a lot about those NFC teams, of course, and the Patriots were the face of the AFC. And you still have the Patriots mixed in there, and the Ravens would pop up from time to time. But absolutely, but the AFC, the face of the AFC, even with the Patriots still winning games, you're going to see in my top 5, I'm a little friendly with the Patriots coming up. But the Kansas City, not just the face of the AFC, they are obviously the face of the National Football League right now behind Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's no bigger star in the league right now than Patrick Mahomes as far as that's concerned. Doug, again on YouTube, says Joe Mixon agrees that the Bengals are passing too much, or does he? Look, I don't think Joe Mixon thinks the Bengals are passing too much because, as Kev pointed out, Joe Mixon gets a pretty hefty amount of carries. Joe Mixon's not starving. He needs to, and I don't even want to say he needs to do a better job with the carries he's getting, because I think right now, just like Burrow's job is being impacted by that offensive line, I think Mixon's is. The problem with giving Mixon the benefit of that doubt is 2 years ago when he led the AFC in rushing, Kevin, that year that Le'Veon Bell sat out with the Steelers, because most likely he would have probably been the leading rusher that year had he played with Pittsburgh. But Joe Mixon was the leading rusher in the AFC that year, and that offensive line was just as bad as this one. But obviously, that offensive line was probably bad in different ways. Pass blocking was bad, but obviously clearly a lot better at run blocking, which is what allowed Joe Mixon to have the year that he did. Maybe. I think we can give him the benefit of the doubt as far as that is concerned. Ron Moreland on Facebook says Duke Tobin needs to be fired, and the Bengals might just go 0-15-1. Shake my head. They would draft another quarterback because throwing Joe's arm will be so sore and needs surgery. Okay, Ron, I'm going to talk you off the ledge. As crazy as this sounds, and as much as I take shots at them, I really don't think that they are that far off after what we've seen from Joe Burrow, who has shown tremendous stride already in 3 weeks in. His poise in the pocket, even if it is for that half a second before he's running for his life, he doesn't look like a rookie quarterback at times. Like, it actually surprises me how comfortable he looks. And he's not comfortable because he's a rookie. He's only going to get more comfortable. He looks comfortable, but I promise you he's not. And when he has that look mixed with the true emotions of being comfortable, he's only going to get better if he's still able to walk and talk and do all those things. I'm hoping he's not eating his food through a tube because the Bengals are too stupid to be able to figure out that they need to get him an offensive line. I think that's a little extreme. I think that the Bengals still have a shot to win a couple games this year. They should have won this past weekend. They could be 2-1. And they were a couple plays away against the Browns. They could easily be 3-0. But that's why, Bengals fans, you need to be more angry. You need to be more upset. I'm seeing way too many wishy-washy people on Sunday saying, man, I really wish this offensive line was good, but man, Joe Burrow looked good. Be excited about Joe Burrow, but be angry, because the only way you're going to get through to that front office over there is by letting your emotions be heard and be known. And it sucks this year because of COVID, because you can't go on strike buying tickets to games. But, man, that's one way to get through to him, because that's really kind of what ultimately put the pressure on the Bengals and the Brown family to begin with. But holy smokes, man, like, you got to be angry. This team, if they even had an average offensive line, they're 2-1, Kevin.
Yeah.
Even with this bad offensive line, they could be 2-1.
They're right there.
They're right there. I'm willing to admit that. They should have won in week 1. They could have won in overtime, it shouldn't even have taken overtime. So, and then the Browns, that Browns game might be a more competitive finish if they have an offensive line. But he was getting hit hard, and there were some turnovers down the stretch. But that was because, Joe Burrow running for his life. So I'm giving a lot of compliments here to the Bengals, saying, hey, I know they're close. And to be fair, for those that think I do hate the Bengals too much, you were giving me crap back in, July, because we were giving our predictions for the AFC North. I said that the Bengals were good enough to win 8 to 9 games. If Joe Burrow was going to live up to the hype, he had the offensive weapons that any rookie quarterback would kill to have. You think Sam Darnold would have killed to have the weapons that Joe Burrow does in Cincinnati? Now, Sam Darnold would be killed if he had the offensive line that Joe Burrow does. So the bottom line is that I believe the Bengals have talent, which is why you should be even more angry. Like Sam Darnold could be angry with the Jets for not having talent. But what the Bengals fans really should be upset about is that they're losing with talent because the Bengals chose to ignore the offensive line, period. Point blank. That's all I have to say about that. It's not the first time I've said it. Definitely, as you guys know, won't be the last. All right, let's take a look at our top 5, bottom 5 of the National Football League. Kev Nash's top 5. That's where we will get started. Kev Nash, who are your top 5 teams in the National Football League as Week 3 has officially wrapped up last night?
All right, number 5, the Tennessee Titans staying there at number 5. Great comeback win on Sunday versus the Vikings, 31-30. I thought they were going to be headed towards an L, but they came back and won. Your guy, Tannehill, passed them to victory, by the way, since you love to bash on him.
No touchdowns, interception. Great job.
Yeah, they got inside the 5. They ran it in with their power running game.
Yep. Game manager. Great job.
Yeah,
keep going.
He's a game manager for sure. Winning games. Number 4, the Ravens. Not going to overreact to them getting blown out by the best team in football. They were in my top 5 last week. They'll remain in my top 5. Not going to overreact to what happened last night. Number 3, moving up in the world, Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers still balling. Guess what? Aaron Jones still balling. They're here. The pack is here. Get ready. Discount double check. Number 2, my guy, Russell Wilson. Possibly the 2 best wins in the NFL this season from the Seahawks, with wins over the Patriots and the Cowboys. So I got them at number 2. And obviously, number 1, the champs. Doing what the champs do. Not only putting up a lot of points.
You think Kansas City's good?
Not only putting up points, but they're shutting down offenses too with that defense, man. So shouts out to the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, that's Kev Nash's top 5. Let's take a look at Kev Nash's bottom 5 teams in the NFL real quick. Kev Nash's top 5 teams in the NFL. Kev Nash has the Chiefs at number 1, the Seahawks at number 2, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers coming in at number 3, the Ravens only dropping to 4 on Kev Nash's top 5 list, and the Tennessee Titans with the ultimate game manager Ryan Tannehill leading the way at number 5. So that's Kev Nash's top 5 in the NFL. Who are your bottom 5? If you're watching live on Facebook, you can see the list right here. Again, we're live on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show. Follow along. Kev, your bottom 5, who are they?
Number 5, the Lions, even though they got
32. Remember, we'll go 32.
Oh.
The worst, the bottom 5 teams, man.
Oh, okay, fine.
Fair enough.
The worst team in the NFL, hello 0-16, will be the New York Jets. And then possibly going 2-14 will be the New York Giants. So those are 1 and 2 are the worst teams. And then jumping up there big time is the Washington football team.
Congratulations.
The Washington Buckeyes. With Chase Young getting hurt with a little injury to his groin, him stepping out of the Browns game, and watching my guy Dwayne Haskins look completely lost out there when it came to passing the ball. If he's not throwing to his first read, he's throwing an interception. And I feel bad for him, but it's exactly what we all said when he got drafted to that franchise. He's doomed.
Yep. And you said the same thing about Joe Burrow.
You said that about Joe Burrow. I didn't.
And I said it loud and proud, baby. All right. Who else? You got Washington coming in at number 30.
Yeah, and then we got the Vikings, 0-3. The reason they're up there because they haven't won a game and they have so much talent. They have Dalvin Cook. They have Justin Jefferson. They got Adam Thielen. There's no reason they should be 0-3 besides that their quarterback is a bum. I don't care how many numbers he puts up. I don't care how much money I do care about how much money he got in the bank. Shouts out to his agent. But Kirk Cousins is a bum. He's not a good quarterback. I don't care what the numbers say. He don't do it for me. And going in at number 5, whatever. The Lions. Shouts out to the Lions. They're moving up, down. I don't even know how this works, but they're no longer in the top 3 worst teams in the NFL. They got a win over the Arizona Cardinals over the weekend. So shots out to the Lions.
All right, and there you go. One more time. Kev Nash's bottom 5. The Jets, the Giants, from worst to, well, I guess first in the bottom 5, but I mean, not really first to do anything. The Jets, the Giants, Washington, Minnesota, and the Detroit Lions. That's the bottom 5 for Kev Nash. So one more time, Kev Nash's top 5. The Chiefs, Seahawks, Packers, Ravens, Tennessee Titans, 1 through 5, the top 5 teams in Kev Nash's NFL. And then his bottom 5 teams, the Jets, Giants, Washington, Vikings, and Detroit. All right, we'll move on. By the way, we're live on Facebook. Go to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. We're giving you our top 5, bottom 5. Let's hear from those of you who are watching on Facebook and watching on YouTube. Leave us in the comment section. Who are your top 5? Who are your bottom 5? And who do you think that Kev and I are just absolutely crazy for having in either our top or bottom 5? Plus, we'll open up the phone lines at 457-9464. All right, so that's Kev Nash's top 5, bottom 5. Let's take a look at, well, the Justin Kinner top 5. I have the Kansas City Chiefs all the way up at number 1. No surprise there. I think anyone who doesn't have them there is a fool. Yes, everyone can have an opinion, but I mean, seriously, if you don't have the Chiefs at number 1, your opinion doesn't count. I don't care if that sounds mean. The Chiefs, there's no way around it. There's no team in the NFL that is playing better, looks better, or is better than the reigning, defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Coming in at number 2 on the Justin Kinner top 5 list, the Green Bay Packers. Significant jump. But what I'm looking at right now is we spend so much time talking about all the negativity that surrounded the Packers in the offseason after they drafted Jordan Love, and they haven't provided Aaron Rodgers with any offensive weapons as far as in the first round of the draft since drafting Aaron Rodgers. This team just continues to win. The relationship between LaFleur, the head coach, and Aaron Rodgers, that's one of the chemistry between those two is top-notch right now. Not only are they playing at a high level offensively, but they're playing at a high level defensively. Let's talk consistency. All right, there's a lot of inconsistent teams 3 weeks in, and that you cannot say that about the Chiefs, and you definitely cannot say that about the Packers. Coming in at number 3 on my top 5 list, the Seattle Seahawks. I was weighing in on whether to put them at 2 or 3, but defensively, this is not your typical Seattle Seahawks defense. They are a good defense, but they lack that pass rush. I think that's why losing out, not keeping Jadeveon Clowney or making it an effort to keep him, and they did, but they didn't bend over backwards to make sure that they kept him. You're seeing the significance of not having a pass rush in Jadeveon Clowney. I think that's really hurting Seattle.
And Jamal Adams got hurt.
Yep. So that having those two right there is really impacting them. But because we've seen Russell Wilson, who was already one of a top 5 quarterback coming into the year, a top 5 quarterback who then takes another big step forward. If the season ends today, he's the MVP. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks top 3 team in the National Football League, no doubt about it. Coming in at number 4, your Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, this is very similar to what I was talking about with the Green Bay Packers. It's all about consistency. And there's really not a lot of teams that have been more consistent 3 weeks into the season than the Pittsburgh Steelers. You could just tell that they have a veteran leader running the offense. They look night and day different from a year ago. They were an 8-win team last year with the circus that was the rotating clock between the quarterbacks and Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph at that point. So, it's just one of those things where you could just tell the impact that, that Big Ben has had on Pittsburgh. My top 5, Kansas City at number 1, Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers at number 2, number 3, the Seattle Seahawks, number 4, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and number 5, who I am putting in over the Buccaneers, and yes, I'm going to say it, even over the Ravens. And this will be a short-lived theme on this top 5 list if they don't perform well against the Chiefs this weekend. The New England Patriots. I have the New England Patriots at number 5. And just on the outside, I do have Ron's losing his mind, but I have the Bucs. I have the Bucs on the outside looking in. The Ravens are still holding on by a hair right there too. 6A and 6B. It's the Bucs and the Ravens, but the Patriots, you got to give it to them, man. I mean, the way they even have a loss, I'm still giving it to them because the way the offense has just continued to improve each week. Cam Newton showing he still has it, and that's not a lot of talent there, but I do believe by the deadline, whether it is OBJ, could be Julio Jones from the Falcons. Let's be clear, we haven't heard that yet, but the Falcons, you've been holding on to that core for a while, and it's gotten you nothing.
Dude, do you know that they've been together 11 seasons?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that until they said it on ESPN the other day. Julio Jones and Matty Ice have been together 11 seasons.
And it feels like it's like a new thing, but no, that's a long time.
Yes.
Julio Jones, they could move on from him, and they probably should if they need to get a draft pick. I think that the Falcons could be that. I also think the Browns should explore moving on from OBJ. I don't want to accept it, but you're right. I watched Baker play a really, really, really good game for a game manager on Sunday. He threw for 156 yards. It was a very efficient game for Baker Mayfield. But if you look at the top 5 lists right here, you know what all 5 of these teams have in common? They have elite quarterbacks. Baker still has a shot to become an elite quarterback, maybe. But as of right now, he's not an elite quarterback. When you have to baby an offense for a quarterback because he has too many deficiencies, that's a problem. I love Baker. I will always be a Baker defender, but I'm acknowledging the fact that he has a lot of flaws. So for me, you look at this top 5, it's all elite quarterbacks. And the Browns, there's no need. If you're going to be a game managing offensive system that's focusing on the run, you don't need OBJ. You don't need OBJ. Go get a secondary, get some draft picks, do what you got to do. But I think the Patriots are only going to get better, Kevin. I think they're going to add an elite wide receiver before it's all said and done. Edelman and Cam Newton's been great.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I mean, you know, we talked about Tom Brady didn't have weapons last year. And I was a big proponent of that wasn't true. And I just think he needs a certain type of weapon. I think he needs a certain type of elite weapon. And he has elite weapons in Tampa Bay. We saw Cam Newton go to the Super Bowl with Carolina without elite weapons. And we're seeing him ball right now without, quote unquote, elite weapons. You know, Edelman's running routes that he hasn't run before. He's running deep routes. He's running fly routes.
And we always said, hey, Tom Brady, he's working with what he has, but I think they were working with what they had. And Tom Brady's a great quarterback. We're not dissing him. But you're right. There was limitations there. There's not as many limitations with the healthy Cam Newton. And yeah, I thought it was a mistake for the Patriots who were trading first-round picks, releasing a bunch of talent in cap space. I thought they were rebuilding. I think they accidentally stumbled on something. I really do.
They're out here playing outstanding defense, and it's really old school football that they're playing. They're really playing through the run game, and it's not like the run game how the Ravens did last year, playing through the run game with explosiveness. They're really ground and pound. You know, they got Sony Michel ground and pound, and oh yeah, they have Cam Newton, who is the definition of ground and pound at your quarterback. This is their dream. This is what they wanted Tebow to do.
Yeah,
when he was the quarterback for the Broncos. You know, this is how they wanted to play, and this is how they're playing because Cam can pass the ball as well as run the ball. So they're definitely a scary team. I do take umbrage with you dropping the Ravens from 2 to out of the top 5 after yesterday, just like that.
Because it's not that they lost, and we need the NFL music, man. I feel like we're a show here without NFL. I mean, you can't do a cliched NFL segment without the cliche NFL music in the background. It's not that they lost, Kevin. Had the Chiefs beat them by a field goal, had the Chiefs beat them by 10 points, had the Chiefs beat them by a touchdown, they're still in my top 5. But that gap between them and the Chiefs is pretty significant based on last night. Now, again, that one game doesn't totally signify everything, but again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. I'm worried about the Ravens. We're starting to see a pattern develop where there's just certain teams and certain styles that team can't compete against. Defensively, they can, but hell, the Chiefs shouldn't have been able to do to them what they did because all that money and talent on the defensive side of the ball as well. It's not like they only lost because of offense last night. They defensively couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes, which to be fair, not a lot of teams can. All right, so one more time, my top 5, the Chiefs, Packers, Seahawks, Steelers, and Patriots. David Shaw makes a great point. He goes, imagine if all those Patriots would not have opted out. You know, we thought, hey, it doesn't really matter. What was the total? What was the total amount of players? David, do you remember how many players opted out for the Patriots? It was quite a few.
Patrick Chung.
I want to say key pieces on the defense.
It was 3 starters for sure. 3 starters for sure. Hightower. I can't remember who else. With Patrick Chung and Hightower definitely opted out.
All right, now let's take a look. And again, my bottom five, the New York Jets, Giants, no question about it. The NFC least, as Keith Byers calls the NFC East, the NFC least, no doubt about it. The Jets, Giants, and Washington are my 3 worst teams in the National Football League. The Jets, Giants, and Washington. And I did like, and my top 4, by the way, the Giants, Washington, and the Eagles come in at number 29. The Eagles come in at number 29. That was abysmal what I saw over the weekend. That was embarrassingly bad. And then to top it off, you had a coach who opted to just settle for a tie instead of going for one more play to get a first down and potentially put yourself in field goal position, or potentially give yourself closer shot to maybe go to the end zone, maybe get a pass interference and maybe get one play at the at the line of, I don't know. I don't respect that. I don't like how Philly looks right now. I don't think they should move on from Carson Wentz. I don't believe it's all on him. But at number 28, I do have the Cincinnati Bengals still. I have the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow. So you got teams that haven't won a game ranked higher than teams that have tied.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. My bottom 5, and Dean McDonald, damn you, Kinner. I'm just saying, the Bengals, it's a huge problem that I will never stop preaching about that offensive line. And by the way, Doug Toby says the Bengals signed 2 free agent veterans, one opted out and one decided to retire. They are trying. It just didn't work out. Doug Toby, never met you. You're a good dude. Heard great things about you. But please don't defend the Bengals here. There's no defending the Bengals because, as we all know, sure, the Bengals have added offensive linemen, but we all know that they go to the clearance rack at Dollar Tree. Everything at Dollar Tree is already a discounted $1. They go to the discount rack at Dollar Tree. And by the way, when Schlemmer and I did the show, we always joked that there's no better store than the Dollar Tree. We're giving them some excellent pub right here, but I mean, the stuff you could walk out with for $1 is unbelievable. So you can always go to the Dollar Tree, but get the best stuff at the Dollar Tree. The Bengals aren't even going to the Dollar Tree and getting the premier stuff. They're getting the discount rack stuff at the Dollar Tree. I'm not defending the Bengals here. No way.
So this is how I look at it, and I might have to make an adjustment. You know what? I'll keep it this way, but if things go the way I think they're going to go next week, they would definitely be in my bottom 5. But I look at teams with talent, and I put more pressure on them because they should be winning games. Like the Falcons, they're 0-3. The Vikings, they're 0-3. All those teams have talent. They have talented players and they have decent quarterbacks, and they're not winning games. So I couldn't dare put the Bengals on there because the other teams are more talented than them and they lost more games than them.
The Bengals have talent, though. They have talent on that defensive line. Sure, they have some injuries. Everyone has injuries. They have some talent on the defensive line.
The talented dude ain't playing.
You talked all about, those weapons that he has offensively. It means nothing because that offensive line is that bad. 14 times he's been hit. 14 times. The Bengals are the 5th worst team in the National Football League.
And I just got a tweet asking, how can I be a Steelers fan and I had him in my top 5?
Yeah, I got it.
The reason I don't have my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers in the top 5 right now, I want to see Ben get hit. Ben hasn't been hit yet.
Bengals fans feel really bad for you, by the way.
He's been tackled, but he hasn't been hit. I want to see him be able to take a hit, and he's only thrown 3 deep passes. He's 2 for 3 on them, but I got to see him take more deep shots to see if that arm really holds up. I want to see him take a big time hit, and he'll be taking some hits if they play the Titans this weekend. So I want to see how he bounces back from taking some hits and if he can still hit that long ball consistently because he's killing it. Him and Juju are killing it from the slot. But I got to see him be able to hit that deep ball to Deontay Johnson, to the rest of the wide receivers before I'm really sold that Ben is back. Once I'm sold that Ben is back, then they'll definitely be in my top 5.
All right, I'm going to pull up their schedule real quick because I am curious, what's coming up, what's on the horizon for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because, right now they beat the Giants, Broncos, and Texans.
Exactly.
All those teams have no wins between them.
Exactly.
And I have them in my top 5. But good teams beat the bad ones. Take care of the bad ones. So maybe the Titans this weekend. All right, you have a bad Eagles team, a beatable Browns team, and then
look at them setting it up.
Then the Ravens. I'm setting up the matchup with the Ravens.
Woo!
You got the Ravens at the end of October, the day after Ohio State kicks Nebraska's ass to kick off their season. The Ravens, will welcome in Pittsburgh.
Can't wait.
Pittsburgh at Dallas. Woo! And then Pittsburgh will end the career of Joe Burrow on November 15th. So, right there you go. But man, they got a lot of. They got the Jaguars, they got Washington, they got the Colts. A lot of winnable games. This Pittsburgh team's gonna win quite a few. And that is the Justin Kinner Show and Kev Nash top 5, bottom 5. Dean McDonald says Kinner didn't have his 2 favorite teams in the top 5. He will jump on the Kansas City wagon. To be fair, There's no jumping on the number one team. I'm not jumping on their bandwagon. I'm not jumping on their bandwagon at all. I'm just acknowledging how good they are. They are that good. They are that good. 8, and David, thank you. 8 Patriots opted out. 8 of them total. Yeah. So there we are. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
You run a business and you need better wireless. 3 words, no more compromise. With the T-Mobile Business Advantage, you get the largest 5G network, award-winning customer support, and insanely great value. No trade-offs. Right now, get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans when you switch via bill credits. Stop in to find out more. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Complete port within 60 days. Customers over 50 gigabytes per month have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p unlimited on our network. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices coverage and plan details.
Hooray fans, listen up. This season, Pepsi is looking for one Bengals fan to sign a fan endorsement deal. The winner gets gear, season tickets, a photo shoot, a billboard, and so much more. All you have to do is participate in the weekly challenges at MadeForBengalsWatching.com, and you could be named the official Hooray fan. So, are you Bengals enough? Pepsi, made for football watching. Grab some delicious, refreshing Pepsi at Kroger before the next Bengals game day. Pepsi, made for football watching. Head to Kroger and grab Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Cincinnati Bengals. Open to residents of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. 18 plus. For rules, visit MadeForBengalsWatching.com. Contest ends 11/21/20.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Welcome to another Fantastic Four golf hole experience with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys.
Me and the boys are in Miamisburg, Ohio today at the classic Arthur Hills designed Pipestone Golf Club. Pipestone is one of the most popular courses in the Miami Valley, and it's in fantastic condition. It's a beautiful golf course. We're at the tee on the 6th hole. It's a par 5 and one of the most beautiful holes in the entire course. You need to come out to Pipestone and see it for yourself. Unfortunately for me, though, there is trouble all over this hole, and I'm in it. When I finally see the fairway, I have a downhill lie, and I'm staring at an elevated green. I'm not up to the task, though, unfortunately. 3 shots later, I'm in the cup with a double bogey 7. No reason to be upset, though. I mean, there's another beautiful and challenging golf hole ahead. You should get your pals together, book a tee time, and come out and play Pipestone. Stay tuned for more Fantastic Four golf hole experiences with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys. See you at the next hole.
Visit buygolfforhalf.com for half-price golf packages from Pipestone and other great local golf courses around the Miami Valley.
David Brannon will make an excellent probate judge.
Dave has a reputation as somebody who you can trust. David's experience in probate matters is extensive. It isn't just that he knows the law, though. It's that he cares and why that matters.
David was there for me, and I feel like he'll be there for other families as well. He knows the right thing to do.
The guy's one of the hardest working guys I've ever met in my life.
Dave Brannon will work hard for the families of Montgomery County.
Vote for me for Montgomery County Probate Court Judge. I'm David Brannon, and I approve this message.
Hi folks, it's me again to let you know that we've just unloaded a semi-load of fresh new landscape plants of all types. We have nice dwarf Alberta spruce, mugo pines, taxus, pyramid arborvitae for privacy hedge, lots of nice boxwoods, magnolias, white pines, dwarf blue spruce, topiary shrubs, fat Albert blue spruce, and dwarf Japanese red maples, and dozens of other varieties of shrubs. We also have thousands of shade trees, flowering trees, and fruit trees, and weeping trees. One of the most popular trees is the Cleveland Select Flowering Pear, which blooms in the spring with nice white blossoms. Every yard should have one. Our 6-acre garden center at 1309 Brand Pike is Dayton's biggest, and we've been in business since 1963. Come out and see why.
In these times, it's important to look after yourself. At Kettering Health Network, we offer telehealth video visits so you can see Kettering Physician Network providers from the comfort of your home using your computer, tablet, or phone. With Kettering Telehealth, you can keep up with your wellness visits, see a specialist, and everything in between. Start by visiting ketteringhealth.org/telehealth. Kettering Health Network.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your car insurance with Right Track, which rewards you for safe driving.
As the world's most careful driver, that's perfect. Now applying 2 pounds of force for acceleration.
You're really
turning in 0.3 miles and begin deceleration.
With Liberty Mutual's Right Track, you could earn up to 30% savings based on how you drive. Sign up at libertymutual.com/righttrack.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Discount on participating vehicles, base coverages only. Availability varies. School goes on.
And Staples has everything your student needs to learn from anywhere.
Notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to project boards.
And all at amazing prices. This week, 10 packs of Crayola fine tip markers and Staples exclusives, Crayola 12-pack markers and 12-pack colored pencils with sharpener are just 97 cents each.
Shop in-store, pick up curbside, or order online.
School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 10/10 while supplies last. Limit 30 in store. Limits vary online. Curbside available in most stores.
Pro-grade brands, big savings, and all the right services to keep your business moving are just some of the reasons why Lowe's is the new home for pros.
Reds fans, don't miss the Justin Kinner Show, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. You'll get the latest Reds news, headlines, lineups, player features, and recaps. Don't miss a game or a show on Dayton's home of the Reds, ESPN 1410, Wing AM. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Back to the famous WING studios. Here's Justin Kinner and Kev Nash.
All right, as we close this show out, we appreciate everyone who's been tuning in and hanging out with us today, whether it's on air, online, or on Facebook and YouTube. Again, you can watch the show daily from 3 to 6 on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, and of course on the YouTube channel, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to that. Let's close out with a call. Let's go to Dickie. Dickie, what's up, man? Dickie.
Hey, Justin and the kid, Tim, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Tim and I are doing great. How are you? You doing good?
Justin, oh, aren't you? I'm in heaven. How about them Browns?
How about the 2-1, baby? It's been a while since I've been above 500.
Man, this is good. And Cleveland is in the playoffs. Boy, something's going right, buddy.
I mean, absolutely. They got the Cowboys coming up. How you feel about the Cowboys?
I think they can do it. I do. I think they'll beat them.
Cowboys a 4.5-point favorite. It's a winnable game according to Vegas. So there you go.
It's a winnable game. Yeah, and this is good. This is good to build on. And if the Indians, I'm a little bit weary though. You know, I'm worried about the Yankees. They always have trouble with them.
Yeah, well, the Yankees are good, but the Yankees are banged up, too. It's not your typical Yankees team. Again, they're playing with what they have. Well, I think the Indians have a good shot. I mean, look, this is a team that's moved on from Trevor Bauer, from Kluber, Clevenger, and they still have, one of the best pitchers in baseball leading the way as the face of their staff. So,
how about the Reds? What do you think about the Reds?
I think they're going to beat the Braves. You think the Indians will beat the Yankees?
I hope so. And I'll tell you another thing I'm impressed about. Joe Burrow has almost got the Bengals victories, hadn't he?
Absolutely. They're almost 3-0.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to tell you guys something. It was good. They have, up in Cleveland, the Sports Time show, and I decided to, I've called a couple times, but
you're known for that.
He used to be the editor, on sports, the Browns and stuff. I got a chance to talk to Jimmy, Doug, and Tony last night, about the Browns.
Is Tony back from suspension?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's glad I called it. They always say, hey, Dick, Doug says, we've got more fans in Southwest Ohio. He says, I think maybe you've got the party going down there, buddy.
You're leading the way. You're always the face of the party, man. You're always the life of the party. We always like that about you. But, hey, Dickie, we are out of time, unfortunately. You're going to have to call back tomorrow after the Reds have a 1-0 lead over the Braves.
Yeah, I work tomorrow, but I'll call next week. I'll keep in touch.
All right, sounds good. Great hearing from you.
Yeah, good. I'll see you.
See ya.
Later. See you, Bob. Bye-bye.
All right, he forgot to tell Tim bye. Tim? All right. How about this tonight? The big debates tonight.
Woo!
The big showdown.
Smoke in the city.
Donald Trump, Biden. Matchup of the century. I'm going to be playing a little drinking game tonight. Every time Biden loses his train of thought, I'm going to take a little sip. All right. Every time Trump laughs at Biden, take another sip.
Oh, you're going to be drunk.
Every time Trump says huge, take another sip. All right. Every time Biden says an inaccurate COVID fact, take a sip. I haven't even got to what it takes for me to take a shot.
Oh, boy.
And I'm mad that we don't have time. But I'm not going to lie. Take politics out of this. Folks, I'm telling you, I am so entertained by these debates. Like the Hillary-Trump debates, nothing will beat those. Like the memes and everything that came after those, nothing will beat that. I mean, I have a feeling tonight could be for some good stuff. People take politics too serious. If you want to be like that, fine. I have fun with it. It provides some good comedy for me, and I have a feeling tonight's going to be pretty funny.
Oh yeah, buckle up.
But I mean, Comedy Central. There's that dang thing. They're doing that thing again. It's about to explode. Comedy Central, Saturday Night Live. They live for this stuff. They live for this stuff because right now they need some fresh content, and that's what tonight's going to provide. So there you go. Give me my damn stimulus check, would you? All right, folks, have a great night. We'll do this again tomorrow. By the time we're talking tomorrow, the Reds will be up 1-0 over the Atlanta Braves. Reds-Braves, NL Wildcard Series, Game 1 tomorrow. First pitch at noon, pregame at 11:30. Don't miss a second of the action right here on Dayton's Home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410